This conference will now be recorded.
Hello friends, welcome back and let's start. Let's understand today's session, what exactly the agenda and what exactly we're going to discuss. So let me list that out. So the first thing we need to discuss is we need to discuss about IP addressing, guys. So not UP addressing, it's IP addressing. And what happened to my I? Okay, IP addressing. And second thing is we're going to discuss about subnetting, guys. We're not going to do a great deal about this one, but you need to know the fundamentals of how IP address works as well as subnetting works. My plan is to use an half an hour to or max 45 minutes to make you to understand how to divide the network basically. And third is we're going to talk about like Azure hierarchy, actually hierarchy, ARCHY. Okay. And then we're going to discuss about Azure resource groups. What is resource group, how exactly what exactly we can do with the resource group. And fifth, we're going to deploy the Azure basic infrastructure for our testing. And six, we need to talk about like if possible, we're going to talk about Azure VNET peering. So that is the agenda for today with what we, if the time permits, we're going to discuss about more. So the class is expected from right now 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and at 7 o'clock what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you I'm going to give you the half an hour session again, 7 to 7:30, where you can ask your questions, and that concludes our class by 7:30. That is the expectation. So let's see, guys, so how we can do. Okay, first thing is I'm going to discuss about the IP addressing. Okay, so why IP addressing is so important. So without IP addressing, it's not possible for your applications to communicate, as well as you can't connect your on-premises to your cloud, or you cannot, literally you can't communicate between the servers in the cloud itself. So IP address plays a very, very vital role when it comes to any cloud, not only Azure, any cloud. But what you need to understand is this is not a CCNA or CCNP networking class basically, and you really don't have much work from a networking perspective. Let me tell you that, because everything is in cloud is basically managed by the physical layer is basically is managed by Azure itself, right? So like physical switches, physical routers, networking, everything. But you still, what will happen is, it is something like, imagine if you are you are basically a nurse, and you are actually working with a doctor. You might not need to know all the bypass surgery, right? At least you should know like a few jargons about, like, if the doctor says something, you should understand, right? Similarly, you don't need to know all the networking components in deep, but you should understand the pretty basics. Actually, that is what I'm trying to make you aware of. Okay, so now the IP addressing, what we know, is basically divided into five classes, guys. Actually, there are two versions of IPv4, IPv4, and we have one more, and we have IPv6, guys. Now in the IPv4, this is basically a 32-bit IP address. I'll tell you how we got the 32-bit size. Whereas IPv6 is 128-bit, 128-bit of size basically. So what will happen? Okay, what will happen is, now why actually this much of difference? So when IPv4 was being introduced in late 70s or 60s, it is actually introduced for only connecting the military bases of the Department of Defense. So the US Department of Defense, they want to basically connect their military bases, and that's why they got the 32-bit IP addresses. And it was never meant to for civilian, actually. That means we are all civilians, right? We're not military people, so it's not meant for civilian networks. But internet has exploded, and people started using, when it was used for defense, right? 32-bit seems to be very large. So if you go for 2002, if you think about Nokia 1100, you think it's a beautiful phone. It is the most super duper phone uh, of Nokia, for example. After 18 years, if you check it out, if you say about 1100, half of the people even don't know that there is a Nokia. In half of that, you don't know there is 1100, by the way. So that is the situation. So same here, it was in IPv4. During that time, it was very big one. but over a period of time, what is Bill Gates and Microsoft did something. They're like they have some aim to get a PC for everyone in the world, so that make like Internet Explorer like anything, right? Earlier that was only for Linux machines, guys. People really don't use Linux in their homes, right? So it was only when Windows got introduced and people started using it, right? Then what will happen? There is a new revolution happened, and everyone is going to have a Windows in their laptops and desktops. So that is why IPv4 is no more enough. That's why IPv6 was been introduced, which will be like a big number when compared to IPv4. But still we are using IPv4. Still the IP addresses are not completed, so we really don't need to bother about IPv6. And for the reason I mentioned about IPv6 is you need to understand what is the how the basic it differs, actually how it looks like. Now if you go to CMD and type ipconfig in Windows or ifconfig in Linux, this is basically IPv6, guys. This is on IP address looks like IPv6, whereas in IPv4 which you were 192 or 18, but anyway it looks like this basically. So that means whenever you see IP something like this, four numbers, right? Basically, so one dot 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 dot, totally four numbers. What you need to understand is it's basically IPv4, which is a 32-bit address. Whereas if you see some hexadecimal, so if you see ABC 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, A B C D E, which is a hexadecimal, right? So when you see and you see four actually, so then what you need to understand is it's a 128-bit size, guys. Anyway, we are really not going to use 128-bit size, but still the world is not ready for that one. It will take some more time. So but our concentration should be in IPv4, folks. Okay, now IPv4 again, so normally the IP address should be somewhere like this. Actually, it will be between, so the IPv4 address should be any IP address you take in the whole world, right? It is basically should be between these things actually. That means what you can take literally anything, but what they did was even we are not going to use this 002255. What that is, they have divided into classes, guys. Okay, if you heard weird sounds, I'm actually having my coffee as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say like I'll say like IP address classes. If I go to IP address classes, what you need to do is IP address classes are basically divided into basically 5 classes, guys. Actually, okay, I think this one is more promising. It is 5 classes, so you really don't need to go deep into that one. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this one, but as I said, see, this is class A. I'm going to list out class A, and should be class B. This is class C. This is class C. Oh, sorry, I missed the class B. Okay, this is class B, and class C, and finally class D and E, guys. Right? So the IP addresses are totally divided into these 5 classes, and one thing we need to understand is we are allowed to use only class C, guys. Okay, we are allowed to see only up to class C, and D and E are not. It is actually multi-classed and defense, everything they're used at the back end. We really don't need to worry about it. Okay, so our business is only with class A, class B, and class C. That means you literally take any website in the whole world. You can take literally any website. It should be fall under either class A or class B or class C. It is very important to understand this. Later I'm going to explain you about public IP and private IP, guys. For that purpose, it's very important. Okay, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to test it actually. I'm going to test it. I'm going to say ping www.google.com, and the IP address you are able to see is 172.217, which falls under class B, guys, right? It falls under class B, right? Okay, ping www.microsoft.com. and it is showing 23 basically 2356, which falls under class A. Fine, let's do one thing. Okay, we are learning Azure, right? I'll say ping, okay, www.portal.azure.com, and it is going for 2041 guys, which is basically again class A. Finally, we're going to check ping aws.amazon.com, and it's going for 9884, again class A. So any IP address in the whole world, you can actually take this one. So even if the devices communicate, right, if the devices need to communicate with each other, you need to require IP. Now there is a challenge here, guys. So if it is, so I'm very sorry, let me put my phone in silent mode. Give me 1 minute, guys. 1 minute, guys. Okay. Okay, so now if nowadays it's like every home you have like a wireless, and you have like 3 4 smartphones, you have laptops, desktops, everything, right? So every device requires IP basically. Now if you go and give the IPs to every device, and nowadays IoT is also coming into the picture, right? So what will happen is every device requires an IP, guys. If you start giving the IPs, what will happen? You basically will become the state government, where who is giving all the freebies to everyone, right? So that finally you don't have anything in your treasury basically. That was will happen. So this was been identified a long back in 1996 itself, actually showing that, okay, if the internet is exploding just like this, okay, and we start giving the IPs to everyone, what will happen? So IPs will be completed. Then what we are supposed to do? Yes, IPv6 is there, but still they're not planned during the time IPv6. So how to solve the current problem? Okay, that is why what they did is they had come to a conclusion saying that one, imagine if I have employees of 100 employees which are working inside an office, how can they use some sort of a range which are communicated internally? They should not use all these IPs. What we do is, let's do one thing. Let's take a range from each IP address. Let's take one range from each IP address, from class A, class B, class B, each range, and we'll explain it to the people, the networking companies like Cisco, Juniper, all these things, right? Nortel, saying that, okay, let's do one thing. Instead of giving all the IPs, we need to make sure that, okay, when the machines are communicating internally inside an office or inside a company, they should use a separate range of IP addresses so that we can save the IPs. Okay, they're trying to do that one. That led to the invention of private IP address, guys. So if you want to study about that more, what you need to do is go to Google and type RFC 1918. If you put RFC 1918, so it is it is not normally RFC is stands for request for change basically. But anyway, address allocation for private internets. Okay, now if you see this is basically this was actually I'm not sure whether these guys has implemented. Normally IP addresses are basically managed by IANA, guys. I think internet authority, internet assigning numbers authority or something is there that manages this one actually. But based upon this paper, if you come down and check it out, what they're going to say is, this is what private address space. The internet assign numbers authority has reserved the following 3 blocks of IP addresses space for private internets. Okay, so, or private networks, I can say private networks. So what exactly you meant by private networks or private internet? And it is in February 19. This might be before itself, but what I'm trying to say is, okay, this exists even in February 1990s, even 24 years before. Yeah, I think that I don't even know there is a computer exist apart from reading in papers by the way by that time. Okay, so anyway, this is the situation. Now that means I'm going to copy. Don't worry about /18 and everything. I'm just going to copy here. So I'm going to place here. I'm going to explain, don't worry, what is this private range and everything. This is the most important thing. If you understand this one, then you will understand what exactly I'm doing, creation of VNets and everything in in cloud, right? In Azure, what I'm doing, you will understand. So if you take in every network, what these guys took is, these guys basically took one certain range of IP addresses and they made them as a private addresses. So what exactly is private addresses? Okay, what they are actually telling us is, imagine I have some three offices. Okay, I'm going to take this is office one, by the way, and I'm going to take the other office. Imagine you are working for a company which has three offices. So imagine one is in Mumbai, other one is in Chennai, other one is Delhi or something. So let's put like Mumbai office, and I'm going to give Chennai office, and I'm going to give like a Delhi office. Okay, yeah, something like this. You have some offices actually. Okay, now every office will have like imagine 100 employees, basically 100 employees. That means you have 100 laptops, desktops, and everything. You have something like this. Okay, now what they're saying is these offices should be interconnected, but that is for sure. So let me do one thing. Let me draw this. Imagine these offices basically are interconnected. Okay, now if there are no, if there are no private, imagine there is no private IP addresses. Okay, only these IP address. That means from each range, or totally the IP addresses I'm going to use is 300 IP addresses here, 100 IP addresses here, 100 IP addresses here. That means only for one company it is going to consume 300 IP addresses, guys. Okay, so that's a problem. So imagine if you have a big company like TCS or Infosys or Walmart, or like Infosys, uh, or like if you take like a Slumberger. So I'm not sure how many people are Halliburton. Okay, I'm not sure if you heard about that, guys. So these guys, Slumberger and Halliburton, these guys deal with the oil things, basically. So it's a big companies. So they have offices in a very small, even minefield, I mean like oil fields and everything. They're like thousands and thousands of servers. Okay, so and what about the cloud? Actually Amazon, everything. So by that time all IP addresses are gone, guys. By then all IP addresses are gone. Okay, let me tell you, there won't be even a cloud as well. First of all, if that happens, right, there won't even cloud as well. So that is why what did was these private IP addresses will help us like this actually. So in Mumbai office, I'm going to assign IP addresses 192.168. Sorry. You can do 190 also, but I want to make 110.1.1.1 to, okay, 10.1.1.100 IPs basically. Okay, 1 to 10. It's not mandatory. It should be like this. You can use different ranges, but I want to get you the concept here actually. Similarly, I can come here 10.1.2.1 to 2.100, guys. 2.1 to 2.100, 3.1 to 3.100, guys. Okay, internally we need to have like I'm going to communicate as, so these things actually, and they are communicate with it. Sir, you can ask me why you can't give same 1.100 or to some everywhere. See, that becomes IP conflict, guys. You should not give. See, these three are same company. These three belong to the same company, and employees, I mean machines or laptops in one office need to communicate with the other office. So we cannot use the same IP. We need to use a different IP, and I can easily recognize by using the IP address. Okay, this are the machine IP is 10.1.2.10, right? It should be a office 2. Okay, this machine is 10.1.3.50, right? It's a Chennai office. Like that, you can easily recognize actually like this. But end of the day, all the servers should be able to reach the internet, guys, right? If you see all these servers, right, they should be able to reach out to the internet. Imagine this is internet actually. I think I don't need to put so long. I'm going to, So imagine this is internet, guys. Okay, so I'm going to name, I know it's small, but I just want to show the diagram. So what I want to do here is, at the end of the day, all the machines should be able to reach out to the internet. So how I can do that? Okay, now let me tell you, if you want to establish your network inside in your office, that means I want these servers to communicate among each other, then you really don't need ISP provider, by the way. That means Reliance or Bharti Airtel, Vodafone or Comcast, the Earthlink, okay, like AOL. So these are all the internet service providers, the British Telecom, these are. So you really don't need ISP provider to communicate inside your office. For example, imagine you have two offices in your home. One laptop want to communicate with the other laptop to copy some movies. Why you require ISP provider for that one? You can get a crossover cable, connect to each other, start working. That's it. But if you want to reach out to the internet, your internet service provider should give you the internet, right? Similarly, so your internet service provider will give you internet, but it normally what will happen is three offices will have a different connections, guys. Normally, yes, we can route all Mumbai, Chennai, and Delhi to through the same one office. We don't do that. Normally, what we do is we'll get three internet connections for three offices, because if you route the traffic from, for example, Mumbai traffic and Chennai traffic through Delhi, right, it will become like, it's very slow for those two guys, basically, right? So imagine that is something similar to, okay, if you want to uh, uh, if you want to post something, right? So what will happen if you don't have a post office? If you have post office only in Hyderabad, for example, that means people of Telangana should on Andhra Pradesh should go to the Hyderabad and post it there, right? So that doesn't make any sense. So like that every office will have their internet connection. So the internet service provider, so in that case I'm going to say ISP will be here, internet service provider, guys. Okay, so this is the ISP, guys. So you need to understand how traffic flow is happening. If you understand this one, then it remaining will be ISP is, for example, I'm going to take Airtel as ISP, what we are writing. In real time, they will have, big office will have two ISPs. Why? Because if one goes down, one should be up. So in this case, for our testing, I'm going to consider Airtel as the ISP provider for all the three locations, by the way. Okay, now what exactly Airtel will do? They will give you a line, they'll give you a fiber line or LAN cable where you can actually connect your office. You can connect to your office. Actually, your office will have a switch. Actually, from there what will happen is, you will be basically connected to internet. Remember that from there you are actually connected to internet, guys. That is what it is going to happen, like this. Like this, what will happen? You're going to connect your office to basically to internet, actually. Okay, let me connect this one. So this is how overall the connectivity will be going on, guys. The connectivity will be, this is how it will be. Okay, right. So this is how your three officers using the ISP Airtel, but they communicate internally. So what they're trying to do is, actually this triangle is there, right? So what will happen is, actually this triangle no need to be, this triangle no need to be here. Actually, I can basically come here. Okay, what will happen is, through these ISPs, right, they're already connected. What I'm trying to say is, because these three are basically, so using these ISPs, this is the same ISP, right? Through the ISP they'll connect internally, guys. There is no big deal, actually. Okay, they'll give the connectivity. So what will happen is, Delhi can connect through this ISP to the here, and all these things, there'll be connectivity. Now the important point here is, now let me tell you, even for you as well, if you want to connect to internet, let's do like this, guys. Go to open a command line. Open from the laptop, you are hearing my class, right? Open a command line, go to CMD and type ipconfig. If you type IP config, you might be getting like 10.1.100 something, or some 192 IP. If you are in home, you get 192 IP address. Maybe if you are using Geo, you might get the IP address, IPv6 actually. But let me tell you, this is a private IP. Okay, so from the whole world, right? Even you're getting 10.1.1.10 from me, right? But this is not the IP which the internet sees me. If I go to internet, I mean go to browser, go to Google and type what is my IP address. Do this. Go to internet, type IP, what is my IP address. Then see this IP 3.80.173.55. This is the original IP. This is the IP. Because of this IP, you are able to see my screen, guys. That means this is a public IP. This is a public IP and 10.1.1 is a private IP. What is the difference? I'll come to that one. What you need to understand is why I'm getting this public IP concept. If you want to connect over the internet, basically, your ISP provider will give you not only an internet line, but he'll also give you a public IP. In our case, you can also check it out. You'll see some random IP, guys. That IP was being given by your internet service provider. Without that IP, you won't be able to connect to the internet. Okay, you will be able to connect. So what it is going to do, imagine in every office, like in your home, right? In your home, if you want to connect to internet, there is a modem, like a TP-Link or D-Link, Netgear, Cisco, whatever it is. You're going to use some wireless modem or wired modem, from where the outside line is coming and connecting, right? So the outside the internet line is coming and going into your router, and you are connecting your laptop, desktop, as well as all the other devices to your wireless or wired mode, actually, right? Now you know what is happening. Just consider this is your wireless modem. This is actually this is the modem, and in at corporate level, it is going. This is having different names, guys. It is actually can be called as, by the way, router, or it can be called as gateway. It also called as layer 3 device, like this. And that device will be there. I think this is a little bigger. Let me draw a smaller one. I think this is suffice. Okay, good. So I'm going to remove this. Okay, so every office, right? Every office you are actually working, right? Just like your wireless, there will be something like this, actually. Like this, every office, what will happen is you have something, a device like this, actually. Just like your wireless router or your router, right? Now, what will happen is the ISP provider, what he will do is, along giving you internet connection, he is going to give a public IP. A public IP is an IP which is not part of this private IP address. Let me tell you. See, I'll tell you the actual difference, but what you need to understand is a public IP, basically a public IP is something which is not part of this private IPs, guys. So what will happen here? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to give, like, for example, 23.34.43.67. This is the public IP given by your ISP provider. Likewise here, I'm going to give something like, imagine 90.66, so anything, just taking as an example. Okay, it should be below 255. I mean the class A, B, and C. Here also you're going to get something like 11.19. Some public IP like this. Okay, and then you are actually reaching to the internet. Now, let's understand what is the difference between a public IP and private IP, guys. Public IP and private. This is very, very vital, actually. Now, I always use something like analogy called the exams, actually. If you remember, when you, before the 10th class, at least I don't know other states basically, but if you take like when I had my 10th class exams in Andhra Pradesh, right? So we used to have public exams. That is the first time you're going to get a hall ticket, basically. I never seen a hall ticket before, but it's in the 7th it is there, but normal actual hall ticket you're getting in 10th class, which is actually called as public exams. So it's very, very irony, the name suits like public address and public exams. Now, until exams, right? Now you remember, we have a roll number. We have a roll number in your school, right? So imagine my roll number is mostly my name starts with S, which is the end of the alphabets almost. So I always used to be in take that my roll number is 56. Okay, Sri Harsha's number is roll number 56. Okay, now imagine this is like this roll number is internal to my classroom. Okay, internal to classroom. Maybe in another class, in another section, there might be another Sri Harsha which is having a 56, or some other person is using a 56. Now when I go to the exam, by the way, when I go to the public exam, when I'm actually going, when the invigilator asks me, okay, what is your roll number, if I say roll number 56, he's going to say it's invalid. That roll number will not be like that. So then he's going to ask, where is your hall ticket number? What is your hall ticket, right? So what is the difference between this roll number and the hall ticket? Now, or hall ticket number, the hall ticket number, imagine if the 10 lakh people are taking the 10th class exam, no one student will have the same hall ticket, basically hall ticket number actually, right? Likewise here what will happen is, so a public IP is something like a hall ticket number. A public IP is a hall ticket number which will be unique across the world, not one region, guys. Across the world, the hall ticket number is, or the public IP address is like a hall ticket number which is unique basically. Now the roll number is something like a private IP address. Why? Because see, this company is using 10.1, right? Even some other company could also use 10.1. Some other company like Infosys can also use 10.1. TCS can also use 10.1. Okay, anyone can use 10.IP address, all these private IP address internally. Okay, all these IP 10.172 to 170.16 to 172.31, 190 to 168, right? These are basically called as private IP address. There are multiple names for this one. They can actually called as private IP addresses. Okay, second, they're also called as non-routable IP addresses. Non-routable IP addresses. They're also sometimes called as internal IP addresses. Now, one thing you need to understand, all these three basically saying that one, it's a private IP address ranges. Now, the point here, interesting point is non-routable IP addresses. What do you mean non-routable IP addresses, right? So if you go back, if you don't have a public IP, see if something like if any one of the laptop from Mumbai office, right, which is having an IP address 10.1.1.10, try to go to the google.com, the packet will go to the router or device or ISP provider. Normally it won't go, hypothetical, I'm telling you an example, and the internet will drop that packet. Why? Because you are coming from a private address range. It is not valid. Okay, it is not valid on the internet basically. Why, you can ask me? Imagine imagine I'm actually posting, I want to send a post to one of my friend basically. I put his name like Anand Kumar, house number so and so, and he belongs to, I'm going to put like so Indira Nagar, for example. I'm going to put Indira Nagar. That's it only. So the name, his house number, and Indira Nagar, and I'm going to put the post. Will the post will go or not, guys? Can you tell me? Can the post will go or not? What do you say? You can use unmute button and say, will the
Encode is
post?
required.
No.
But it won't go. Why it won't go? I said Indira Nagar, right? But still, why it won't go?
Like
Multiple areas, right?
So every town has some Indira Nagar. Okay, because of because of the great Gandhis, we have everywhere. We have Indira Nagar. Every town we have an Indira Nagar, right? So which town it will go? Similarly, if you are basically coming from 10.1.1.10 to the internet, you have like 1,000 companies using that IP address. Then where it will route? So that is why it is called as non-routable IPs. In order to route it, what we are doing, apart from Indira Nagar, you're going to give the whatever the city, at least you need to mention the pin code, right? So here the public IP address is the pin code. So what will happen is, when you are trying, so see, when you are trying see, you have a machine here and you have a machine here. When you two want to, or you have a machine here, when you want to communicate, it's very easy. It will go. You don't really have a public IP and all. You can internally communicate, no issues basically. Okay. But if you want to reach out to internet, what will happen is, so the machine or the laptop will send the packet to the router. The laptop is having IP, imagine 10.1.1.10 for example. Now you know what the router will do. This is happening in your in your home also. The router, what it is going to do is, it is going to convert the address of the packet to this public IPs, guys. It is going to convert to this public IP and then send it to ISP. Now ISP can see that, okay, it is coming from this IP, so it is valid. Then what is going to do? It is basically send it to the internet. Basically it is going to send outside. Now same thing happens everywhere, even in your home, right? When you are accessing google.com, what is happening? It will go to your router, your modem actually, or your wireless router, and it is going to convert into the public IP, sent to the internet. This process of converting the traffic from private IP address to public IP address to communicate to outside is actually called as network address translation. You are going to use this word multiple times in Azure, guys. Okay, it is actually called as network address translation, short form NAT, guys. You are going to call it as NAT. So this NAT process is happening in every gateway which in the office. So that is why what will happen now, you have like 300 people. What you are, okay, everything is fine, but what exactly we are achieving, all doing all this mess actually? With all this mess, we have 100 employees here, 100 employees here, 100 employees here. Totally how many employees? We have like 300 laptops. But before, there is no NAT private public concept, right? You need to have 300 public IPs, guys, in order to make them work. Now how many public IPs we require? We just require 3 public IPs, that's it. 3 public IPs, remaining everything internally they have the private IP addressing. That means you literally saving hundreds of IP addresses. That is why in this way you are going to save a lots and lots of public without wastage of lots of IP addresses basically. This because of this private IP addressing as well as NAT actually. Okay, this is basically the basic difference between public IP address, private IP address, as well as how actually what exactly the thing NAT is happening at the back end. Okay, that is why even in your home, right, you might have like imagine 10 family members are there, they have 10 smartphones which requires internet, and they have 10 laptops basically because they're all working from home. And also nowadays you have smart TV, right? My TV is a smart TV, you can directly connect to the Wi-Fi from your TV and watch it. So that requires an IP. So who is getting all these IPs? Everything is internal IPs coming from your router, guys. If you are working from home, your IP will be 192 because your Wi-Fi modem is configured in such a way it will lease the IP. It's called DHCP. Okay, but the outgoing, right? So the outgoing IP will be only one. Okay, that is a public IP, and the process is converting your private IP and data from private IPs to public IPs is basically called as network address translation, short form NAT, guys. Okay, any questions, guys? Anything you didn't understand in this process in the conceptual wise, because this is very very vital going on further. Any questions here? Concept wise, are we clear? If you have any
See,
questions, you are
suppose,
yes.
yeah, suppose employee from Mumbai want to access the application hosted on Chennai. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so for that purpose, that machine should be on public IP, right? Because even though they
It's
are
not
using private.
mandatory. What you can do that one. Okay. See, what will happen is these belong to the one office, right? So what they do is they have a private connectivity between their offices using VPN, or they're going to use like like MPLS network. It's called as, they have an internal network. Okay. So if somebody from outside want to communicate your web application from the internet, yes, definitely it should have a public IP. Normally it is, if it is internal, they have internal communication, it's not required, guys. Okay, it's not mandatory. Questions, guys? So you're clear. If you don't tell me whether you're clear or not, I don't know you understand, then you're going to come back, sir, I have a doubt on that one again at the end of the class. That's what I'm asking. Any questions here? You're not going to come back to this topic again, that's why. Okay, so I'll take that as a no, you don't have any questions. You want Yes.
Harsha, one question here. So let's say there is no router. I don't want to get connected to the internet. So I've got one brand laptop. So how come what is the private IP address is getting assigned to my laptop?
Now, if you don't have any router or something, right, then what will happen? Airtel will give you a direct line, right? So they'll give an internet line. Now, how many ways you will get an internet line? One is directly you will get a LAN cable, for example. If you have a directly a LAN cable, then you can actually get a public IP address, assign yourself. Second thing is either you will get a DSL, which is a phone line cable, or you will get a fiber cable. Both you can't directly connect to your laptop, right? So what you're going to do, if you get a DSL cable, then you need to have a DSL modem, or if you have a fiber cable, then you have a fiber modem. So then what will happen? Your DSL router and fiber modem is going to give you the private IP address, and it will do the NATing. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Right then. Now,
Yeah,
this is
one
how.
more question.
Yes. Yeah.
So whatever ISP is, right, whenever we start the device, it will allocate a new laptop, right? So are we need to get static IP for this public?
I didn't understand. Come again. Whenever you start off what?
No, the whatever public IP assigned from these ISPs, right?
Yes.
So those are basically getting changed as soon as we restart the device, right?
Yes. Yeah. For you as an end user, if you go for corporate, they won't change. They are fixed actually.
Okay.
They won't change for companies. It is changed for you. Even if you don't want to change, you pay extra money, like a static IP cost you some 1,000 to 2,000 rupees. You pay it. It will also now it won't change for you as well. Okay, so for example, if they need to pay companies, right, they need to pay from thousands to lakhs. A normal I think 10 Mbps will cost you like 25,000 per year or something. Okay, no, per month I think so. Some like because they'll give you SLA. So for corporate network space, it will be very costly. For that one, they'll give even 10 IPs free also. They have a package. If you take 50 Mbps, they will promise you, like if you take 50 Mbps, okay, it will be like 1 lakh per year, and you get 10 public IPs for free. Like that they go offer. Okay. Okay, anything else, guys, before I move to the subnetting? Okay, give me
Hi,
1 second.
Harsha. Here,
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
uh, so ISP gives one public address to connect to the router. So router will automatically assign the private IP addresses.
Yes. See, you are if you're talking from your end user normal from your home perspective, yes, you're going to use some TP link or some sort of a Netgear, right? D-Link or something. Yes, they are pre-configured with IP addresses in IP1 and 192 range. Why? Because most of the people really don't know how networking works. Okay, imagine if there is a CA chartered account, why you need to know about networking, by the way? No, right? So that's why they make things easy. By default, there will be a DHCP range of, I mean, IP addresses range of 192. But if you go for corporate level, there is a network team to do that. They should be proper. Okay, this office should have 10.1, the office should have 190, like that, right? The network team will take care of it. In your home case, it will be automatically given. Okay.
Fine. Okay.
Give me 1 minute, guys. I need to get my water bottle. Give me 1 minute. Hold on. Okay, guys. So let's proceed further. Next level, and this is the confusing concept coming into the picture, which is basically subnetting, guys. I don't want you to waste a lot of time by trying to understand. If you understand the fundamentals, that is more than enough. See, I could have jumped directly into the Azure and explain about, okay, this is a resource group, this is subscription, machines, everything. But what you don't understand how exactly the connectivity, because we are going to tomorrow talk about in the next class, we're going to talk about like firewalls, how the routing is happening, all these things. But if you don't have the fundamental knowledge on how how this NAT is working, because we're going to talk NAT in firewalls, we're going to talk NAT in VNet gateways, we're going to talk in load balancers, everywhere we go to, and we have a NAT gateway as well. 4 or 5 classes we're going to use this NAT word. So if I don't give this one, so you won't be confident on that topic. That is why I'm putting a lot of effort to make you to understand how IP addressing works. Okay, so it is not like a time pass. I could use this time for teaching something else, but this is very important, so try to concentrate. Okay, now what exactly is subnetting, guys? Okay, subnetting is nothing but, so subnetting is nothing but, if you have a big network. Okay, now what I always explain in a picture, basically something like, imagine your grandfather, so, or great grandfather, I hope like no one has great grandfathers. So before he passed away, imagine you got some 1 acre land. Okay, 1 acre land in a prime area, for example. Now you want to convert that into a venture, actually. So if you want to convert that into a venture, are you going to sell the 1 acre land just as a one shot? You know that it's not going to work, right? So what you're going to do here is, you're going to divide that land into basically half and half, basically. So maybe, okay, so I think right one is, looks like almost both are same. Okay, and okay, something like this. Okay, still I think left one is lesser. Anyway, so you're going to divide into 4 equal parts, and put it for a sale. Okay, so you're going to say so I say like a villa plot 1, for example. Okay, so villa plot 1, and you're going to give like a villa plot 2, for example, like this, and something like this, 3 and 4, basically. Now here is the problem. So the prospective buyers, right, who come here, right, okay, initially you thought you were going to sell this one, then after few days you have identified this is a mistake, actually, because the prospective buyers who are coming inside are actually asking not for a villa plot, but they're actually asking for, okay, I required like for 1 BHK server, I want to build a house of 2 BHK, maybe a small 3 BHK, like that. So later you have realized that this business is not going good, so you need to do something else. So what you did, okay, let's do one thing, we'll leave 2 villa plots as it is, like that. But what we're going to do is, we're going to divide 2 villa plots into 4, actually. Okay, so that too in unequal matter, something like this. Something like this, you're going to divide something like this. So the plan is, the small one is for 1 BHK, the plan is for 1 BHK. Okay, I will come to the analogy, guys. I'm trying to make you to understand why how exactly this is related to basically subnetting. Okay, the point is, you need to understand the concept, and basically these are for 2 BHK, guys. Okay, that is the plan. So you have identified this has a more potential than selling 4 villa, because then you can get more money than that one. So like this, actually. Now, can anyone tell me what exactly I did, actually? What exactly I'm trying to achieve? What I'm trying to achieve here is, I'm trying to give what people require. They don't want villa plots. Okay, only few people. That's why I kept it something like this. Like, so I don't want to give completely. So what I did was, I like a I'll say I just left 2 plots as villa plot 1 and 2. 1 and 2. And remaining plots I have made into another 8 plots for 1 BHK buyers and 2 BHK buyers. So what I'm trying to do here, so I'm serving my land to the people based upon their requirements, Similarly, what you need to understand is, when you create a network in AWS or Azure, it is going to be a one big network, guys. Okay, so let me tell you, if someone comes and asks me something like this, and they're going to give you an IP range 10.0.0.0, and they're going to ask me how many IP addresses I'm going to get from this one, right? So then I need to say it's not possible, right? It is not at all possible. Why? Because it always depends upon the depends upon what is the IP range you are having. So I'm going to give something like this. I mean the subnet range you're going to use it 16, because you frequently come across something like this. Okay, so 10.00/18, 10.00/16, 10.00/24. Okay, so this is how okay, what exactly we're going to get? What is this /8, guys? What is this /16? What is this /24? Now let me tell you. Imagine, I'm not sure if I asked you yesterday. I asked a question, something like I'm really confused, like did I ask this question yesterday or some other class? Okay, the question is something like this. Imagine you are having a truck company. You have basically having a transport company, right? So I'm going to ask a question something like this. Okay, so I come to your transport company and I see a truck basically there. Okay, and I'm going to ask you how many items I can put in this truck. Okay, I'm going to ask this, how many items I'm going to put in the truck. Okay, what is your next question, guys? What you will ask me? Tell me.
Like
What
what
is
do
the
you
size
have?
of items?
So the obvious question, logical question, and mandatory question, next question will be, go on mute, will be, what is the item first of all? Okay, what is the size of the item? Is it a cement bag, or is it onions, or is it right rice bag, or you're going to put a JCB proclaimer, or you're going to put 3 tractors? Which item you're talking about? Based upon that I can tell you. Similarly, if somebody comes and asks me, okay, how many IP address I'm going to get in 10.0.0.0, next thing I'm going to ask, what is a mask? You can call it as mask, subnet mask, net mask. Basically it's called a mask basically. So if we give 255.0.0.0, 255.0.0.0, that means the 10 will be constant. This number should not change. Okay, it will start with 255 only, by the way. It can't go below 255. It starts with /8 actually. So that means this number is constant, and the available number of IP addresses basically falls in these three. Something like it will go to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255. Okay, now how many IP address I'm going to get? So I'm going to do the calculation. Oh, come on. Into 255 into 255, approximately you're going to get 1.6 million, or I think I should be precise, will be 1.67 million IP address, guys. I'm going to say 1.6 million. That means 1,67 lakhs million IP addresses. Okay, this many IP addresses you're going to get. Now if I say /6, I'll tell you how you got this /1624. /16 means it will be 255.255.0.0, guys. That means these two numbers are constant, you can't change it. So only change will happen between 255, 0 to 255 and -255. Then what will happen is, if I go here, if I 255 into 255, that will get the count to 65, approximately 65,000 IP addresses, guys. 65k IP addresses. Okay, finally 24 means 255.255.255.0. So that means that means these three will be constant, only changes will happen in 0 to 255. So it will be 255 IP addresses. Okay, so you need to understand this concept, guys. It will be /8, by the way. Okay, you need to understand. So simply simply you need to note down, if this number is very low, you have more number of IP addresses and less number of network. I'll tell you what that is. If this number keep on increasing, the IP addresses reduces. Basically number of networks increase, but not problem about networks, but you'll get the more the number, the more less the IPs. You might be asking what happened to after 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I'll explain what happened to those numbers. First thing what I want to do is I want to make you to understand, is this concept clear? Okay, so /8 means you will get 1.6 million IP address, /16 means 65,000 IP address, /24 means 255 IP addresses. Okay, so is this concept clear, guys? How it works basically? Any questions here?
Yeah, I have a quick question, Asha. So when you I understand when you say the IP addresses increases and decreases, but as far as the network, are you talking about a network flow?
No, not network flow actually. So what I'm trying to say is, okay, now if I take a big IP ranges, okay, big IP range like a /8 actually, that means let me show you. So if I say 10.0.0.0/8 means, how exactly the IP addresses will start is, okay, so the number of IPs available is, it will start from, for example, 10.0.0.1, and it will go to again 10.0.0.2. Again, once the network goes to 255, or I'll put something like this, 1 to 255. Next, what will happen? You will get one more network, 10.0.1.1 to 255. Like this, it will go up to 10.0.255.1 to 255. Next, it will start again from 10.1. Okay, 0 dot, like this it will keep on going. So what I'm trying to say here is, the reason I'm actually explaining this to is, tomorrow after some, or not tomorrow, I mean after some time, I'm going to explain, I'm going to take a big network which is /88, which get 1.6 million IP addresses, and I'm going to break it. See, this /8 is something like this plot actually, 1 acre land. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to divide that into networks, because project 1 requires 200 IPs and project 2 requires 500 IPs, like that, right? I'm going to break into pieces, which is basically called subnetting, just like how I carved out of the plots, right? I'm going to divide this big network into smaller networks. So for that purpose, so what will happen, if you say 10.0.0.0/8, inside this one, if I take 10.0.0.0/24, this is a part of /8, by the way. Second part is, I can go 10.1.0.0/24, like this. 24 and 16 are part of 8 actually. So we're going to divide this network into subparts. We're not going to take /8, guys. We're normally going to take /16 only. /8 will be very, very big network, but normally we're going to divide that network into parts, which is basically nothing but subnets. So the main network, right, I'm going to take this one, 10.1.0.0/16. This is a main network, which is actually, we're going to call it as address space, or simply put, like virtual, or simply address space. Address space, it means it's a main network, and we're going to divide that into, for example, 24 which is part of /16, which is basically, we can call it as subnet of address space. That means /24 is part of 16. Like that, you're going to divide it. Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Any questions, guys? Are we clear with this one? How I'm going to do this?
So, Dheeraj, yeah. So the main network will be divided into the sub networks, right? I mean,
Yes.
as in
Let's put like this. I'm going to take this and I'll go to our real estate example, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to put like this. This is your main site. Okay, sometimes one guy we're going to ask on gas, okay, I require 1 BHK. So one, I'm going to give like 10.1.1.0/28, which will give you like 28 IP address. One guy comes and asks me, okay, I required like a big one. Then I say 10.1. I give 2.0 because 1.0 already used actually. So like this. 0/24. Like this, I'm going to divide and allocate to that particular project or team so that they can use for their servers. Okay. Does it answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go further understand how this subnetting works. I'm going to divide. See, first point is how exactly I came to the conclusion of this will be 255. Why can't it be 552? What makes me to do that 255? That's because if you remember, as I said, this is an IPv4 is a 32-bit IP address, right? I said 32-bit. Then it will be totally 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, and 8 bits. 8888, 8 fours are 32. Okay, 8 fours are 32 basically. So that means this is 8 bits, this is 8 bits, this is 8 bits, this is 8 bits basically. Okay, so like this we have like 32-bit addresses actually. Now what is this 32-bit? What is this 8 bits actually? So 0.0.0, sorry 000 001 010 011 100 101 110, and finally we're going to end with 111. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. As you can see, totally we have 8 bits guys. So you need to do the calculation. 1 2, it will be like 2 to the power of 4 something is there. I don't really don't look into that one guys, and I'm very poor in mathematics, so don't expect me to solve all to the power of all these things. But at the high level, it is a 2 put 2 to the power of actually the calculation. Okay, this is what it will be. So that means these are the 8 bits guys. If you say 255, how I got this number? If you add all sum all these numbers, right, 1 2, it will end with 255. Now let me tell you. So let me tell you how I can do the subnetting. For example, if if I told you, like if I say 10.0.0.0/8, right? Okay, then it will be 255.0.0.0. Now what will happen if I'm going to say 10.0.0.0/9? Then it will be 255. This is 8 bits, you know that this is 8 bits, right? 255 dot, and you should see 111. See, it will start from here. You should give 128 guys. Here. So next is if you give 10 actually, that means what will happen is, see, if you increase by one number, 1.6 million will become half. That means basically 80 lakhs. Okay, if I give 10 slash 10, I'm going to say 255. So next is it will be like 128 plus 64, it will be 192.0.0. Okay, so this will be basically the subnet mask. If I give 11 10.0.0.0/11, it will be 255. So 128 64 32 224. Okay, 224.0.0/12/12. This is how it will keep on increasing. If the number is keep on increasing, 1.6 million will become 80, 80 become will 40, 40, 40 will become basically sorry, this is not 40 will become 30. Like that, by the time it come to the 16, right? The moment it comes to 16, it will become 255.255.0.0, and finally it will become 65,000 IP addresses guys. Okay, 65,000 IP addresses. Okay, just give me 1 minute guys, my son is alone. Let me look into him what he's doing. Give me 1 minute. Okay, guys, thank you so much. So hold on. Where am I? Okay, so that you need to understand. So if the number keeps on increasing, so what will happen is the IP reduces. Okay, that just keep that in mind. Now for our purposes, right? For our learning of Azure, I'm going to utilize something like this. I always going to use 10.1.1.0/16, guys. Now you can use /8 also if you take AWS, right? AWS don't support beyond 16 or less than 28 basically, but Azure supports even /8 itself, where you'll get like a 1.6 mil, right? So anyway, I'm going to use 10.1.0.0, and which is going to give me somewhere like 65,000 IP addresses, guys, 65 IPs. Now what I can do is I can actually create individual subnets. For example, for web servers, I'm going to say 10 dot, because imagine we take a 3-tier application. I'll explain later what is a 3-tier application. 3-tier application. In a 3-tier application, you have like web servers, by the way, app servers, and DB servers. Guys, it might be looking very simple for you right now, but let me tell you what will happen by the end of the 10th weekend. Okay, until now I took a lot of classes either in English or Telugu, and different classes basically. Now no student until now, no student in all my never, I don't, at least I don't know, maybe they didn't told me, no one has actually followed me, because by the time I complete the last class, for example, on the 10th weekend 10th weekend, I'll ask a question: how many people has completed all the practice, all the labs until 9th weekend? The answer will always be no. No one. At least maybe they kept silent or something, I don't know, but I think if someone did that one, definitely he will say yes, because why should he say no? So initially you might be thinking it is simple, all these things, but going forward what will happen is it will be very hard to practice. So you need to put a lot of effort, and you need to practice as much as possible, then only you'll get proficient in that one. Okay, so I'll give all the tools, all my knowledge to you, but the expectation is, yes, you need to practice a lot. So in the web servers, we're going to use 10.1.1.0/24. I hope you guys
Harsha,
prove me wrong. Yes.
sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, yeah.
Just wanted to understand. So 10.1.0.0/16, that is for 65,000 IPs.
Yes.
So if I just say it like 10.1.0, if I wanted to whatever /17, so then that will be 10.1.128.0, then it will be 128 into 255. Is that
Yes, you are right. So how it will become 32,000 IP addresses.
okay?
Normally,
Okay.
what we do is, it is something like we don't really use a whole subnet. What is the point of using a whole? So yesterday, I think there is one guy when I was teaching AWS asked, sir, why, anyway it is a private network, right? Why you need to further making a subnets into that one? Why can't I put everything in this all 16? So I asked this question from him. Maybe he's in the class also. The question is, imagine there are three brothers, a combined family. Will all the families sleep in the same room, or each one have their personal bedrooms? Because of the privacy, obviously they are married people, they have their own privacy required, so they have right. Similarly, imagine this is brother 1, this is brother 2, this is brother 3, for example. Each one had have their privacy, so we need to divide this main network into sub networks. You should not put everything in the main network, then everything get access, then there is a chances what will happen, quarrels will happen unnecessary. If one machine get compromised, everything will compromise. So the best way to do is, you need to divide the address space. I don't call this network, I'm called as address space. That means it's a big network into subnets basically, and then we're going to put web servers in this subnet, app servers in this subnet, and DB servers in this subnet, guys. Is it clear? Okay.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So we're going to divide this big network into sub networks basically. Okay, that is what we're going to do, and we're going to place the servers here, and we will basically use it. So this is how basically subnetting works, guys. You take one network, you make into multiple parts. See, subnetting is a little complex topic. So you might be asking, okay, so imagine there is a project coming in. a project comes, there is something like, for example, some Java project came actually, and the requirements of Java project is they will have like 20 web servers, for example, may or may not be, but expectation is they have 20 web servers, 30 or 40 app servers, and I have like some 10 DB servers. That is what their expectation. Now if I assign web server this subnet to here, okay, this subnet to here and this subnet to here, can you tell me, is this efficient manner, by the way? Is it good or bad? Tell me. Is it good or bad, guys?
Yes, it is.
It is good. Why? It's bad actually.
Yes.
Why it is bad? Why you think it is bad? Why I'm saying it is bad? Can anyone guess?
Most of the IPs are getting unused.
Yes, that's right. Excellent. So what you are doing is, this guy is literally asking, trying to ask a French fries. You are trying to give him a 12-inch pizza basically by giving a total subnet. That is what you are doing. That guy is simply asking, I want a breakfast, give me some burger. You are trying to give, or maybe I can call it the 18-inch pizza. So obviously what will happen? He will have one piece and waste the remaining pieces. That is what it is going to happen. So that means if the requirement is 20 servers, you need to give nearest to 20. You should not give, like, if you give this one, you are actually literally giving him 255 IP addresses, and if you use 20 only, then you are literally wasting 200, more than 200 IP address wastage. You should not do that. Even it might be free, guys. The private IP addressing is free, they're not going to charge you, but still what will happen if you keep on doing like this? At one day you're going to run out of the subnet. You should not do that. Okay, this is actually, as I said, this is a bad method. This is bad. So what is good? What is good is you need to properly calculate the subnets. For that, what I'm going to use, I'm going to introduce to a subnet calculator. I'm going to come to a subnet calculator, by the way. So open the subnet calculator. Now I'm going to take a subnet 10.1.1.0, okay, and host for subnet, right? See, either you have 2 hosts, 6 hosts, 14 hosts, 30, 62. The requirement is for the, you can see for come on, okay, the requirement is 20 web servers. Of course you can't get exactly 20, but what is the nearest to 20? 14 or 30? Of course it will be 30, so you're going to give 30. So then the IP range will be 192, sorry, sorry guys, it should be 10 dot, right? Let me select this one, my bad. I'm going to select 10.1.1.0, and I'm going to select I required something like 30 servers, and this is the IP range, guys. You see, this is the IP range 10.00 to 31. Here the IP range for subnets is to 31. In that one, the usable IPs will be, you're going to get it here. The usable IPs is this one, because this is called subnet ID, this is called broadcast ID. We don't use that, but I'm going to copy this, give something like this. Okay, so that means instead of, this is a good way of doing things. So this guy asked for 20 IP address, I'll give 30 because I can't give exactly 20. At least it might, the remaining 10 you can use it as a buffer. Maybe in future you might add additional servers. Similarly, this guy requires 40. Of course I can't get you the 40, but this is ending with 31, right? I'm going to do with 30. I'm going to give 32 here, and I'm going to say I need 62 IP addresses. Okay, so it should come from 32. It should start from 32. Then from 32 might be, it not be sufficient. So it is not allowing me, guys. So it's not allowing me, but I'll do one thing. if I go here, DB servers only require 10. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to require 14, for example. This time it gives, check it out guys, from 32 to 47. I'll go, I'm going to say 32, basically 47, the address range, and the usable IPs will be 33 to 46. It satisfies. Okay, next, that means this is a good method. You see, same one subnet I'm using everything, trying to use as much as IPs, and 40 IP address. Again, this is exiting at 48, right? I'm going to say 48. So if I giving it 48, I should get how many hosts I require. If I give 30, I'll get from 49, but no, I'm giving 30. Okay, so it's not accepting. Check it out. I can't get, because I can't use the subnet basically. So in under this case, see, I'm not able to get 60 out of this one, guys. See, I want 62 IP addresses, but I can't get it. It is not basically allowing me to do that actually. Okay, so what I'm going, let me do one thing. I'm going to say, let me refresh it. Come on. All right, I'll come here. Let me show. I'll say class A. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give IP range here, something like it's 48, right? So I'm going to say 10.1.1.48. Okay, and I'm going to say, for example, if I give 26, by the way. Okay, so if I say calculate, okay, so from, I think I can use from here, guys. If I say 48, so I think I can use for 60, from 64 to 126 I can do. So because how many IPs I require, this is 35, and this one. Okay, this range is good, guys. Usable host rate, this is 1.64 to, you see this, I can use this from, for DB servers I can't give, I can give from 164 to, basically I can use to this one, 127, and the usable IP address you're going to get is from here to here. Okay, usable IP address will go into get it from here to here. This is how I took only one network, guys. I give only one networks, and I have divided into web, app, and DB. You should not waste the IP address. This is a bad method. Giving the whole subnet is a bad. I just took 1/24. I have converted into, so something like this. This is how the effective subnetting should go. You should not waste the IPs. Okay, have you got my point, guys? Guys, is it clear? Did you
Yes.
understand what I'm trying to say? Any questions here? Any confusions? I'm happy to answer for you. And next, one more thing why you need to remember, so don't ever think that if I ask this is a silly question, other people think bad. Other people is not your concern. I am your concern. If you ask a silly question, then I will scold you. Okay, so the guru can scold his disciple, so don't worry. You should not hold your thought on that one. If you have a doubt, you just ask, then I'll tell you. If it is a good question, I'll appreciate you. Otherwise, I'll say, okay, where you can check it out. Okay, so if you have asked, you just go ahead and ask it. So don't think about others. That's the important thing I'm going to tell you. Any questions? Okay, I think that everybody understood. Okay, so don't worry. Once I'm going to create a new WhatsApp group, one, because by next you have you can pay the fee. I know already 3 guys has paid the fee. I'm going to create a WhatsApp for you guys. We're going to keep on adding people by next week, right? You guys have everything, then you can always post the questions and you can do a lot of things inside, so don't worry. Right now, if we go back to our here, so what we did, we have completed our IP addressing and we have completed our subnetting, guys. So what's next we can do? The next thing is we're going to talk about the Azure hierarchy. Okay, So you need to understand what exactly is going on, because you have subscriptions, resource groups, VNets, all these things, right? So we need to have a base understanding from where you are coming from the top actually. Okay, we need to discuss about that one. So let me draw a diagram. When you first create a AWS account, sorry, when you first create a Azure account, by the way, when you create Azure account, what you're going to get is, you don't need to create a subscription, guys. You just create a Azure account. What you're going to get is, you're going to get something called as Azure Active Directory. If I open that one, you don't need to create any subscription, by the way. So you're going to get an Azure Active Directory, and you're going to get something called as a tenant ID. Now when you compare this with AWS, right, AWS is little different from in this perspective, guys. Let me tell you, Amazon Web Services basically has only one thing, which is their cloud. That's it. Now, when you think from the Microsoft perspective, Azure is one of the line of business for them, right? So one of the line of business, they already have Office 365, by the way, which is a SaaS product for Office features. They also have, I think, Microsoft Dynamics or something. There are different branches are there, guys. Whereas AWS is only one, right? Maybe they have Prime and everything, but it won't fall under this one. But the cloud is different. But Microsoft having different things actually, right? Now imagine you are an enterprise company, and as an enterprise company, you are using all the products. For example, you are using Microsoft Azure, you are using Office 365, you are also using, what is that one, you like Microsoft Dynamics, everything. Imagine if I ask you to create, okay, do one thing, create separate accounts for all the three, and you need to maintain separate. It's like a headache basically. So what Microsoft did was, okay, whenever you create an account directly in Microsoft, they are going to allocate you a tenant ID. See this, the tenant information for you, this tenant, and this is a tenant ID, guys. Okay, this is the tenant ID. Now this tenant ID has nothing to do with the Microsoft Azure. Let me tell you, this tenant ID has nothing to do with Azure. Basically, this is the top level. For example, what I can say, imagine if you're working in a gated community. Okay, if you're working in a gated community, I can say like posh gated community, costly gated community, you will have passes everywhere. If you want to even go into the lift lobby, you need to put a pass, right, the ID card. Or if you want to use the gymnasium, you need to use the pass. If you want to go use a swimming pool, you need to put a pass. Similarly, the pass, right, what you are giving, the ID card, right, that is a tenant ID. Okay, the tenant ID will allow you to go to your flat or gymnasium or whatever is the, sometimes it will happening what will happen, like yoga sessions or something, or you want to go to the visit the pool, you can use the pass everywhere. That is your authentication, right? Similarly, that means one card can be used for different features here or different products. Similarly, the tenant ID can be used, you can add additional tenants, but the tenant ID can be used for your Office 365, Microsoft Azure, as well as your other products like BizTalk and all these things, other things of the Microsoft. So the tenant ID will be at the top, guys. The tenant ID resides at the top actually. So that means I'll go to the diagram. I'll go to the diagram here, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the diagram for you. So I'm going to so I'm going to give, say, as Microsoft tenant ID. So Microsoft tenant ID, this is important, guys, Microsoft tenant ID. And as I said, the tenant ID looks like this, guys. The tenant ID, so it's a big one, by the way. It's a big one, alphanumeric number. If you see, this is the tenant ID, guys. Okay, so under the tenant ID, you can use like Office 365, all these things, but I'm not going to touch Office 365, by the way. I'm not going to touch that. But what you can do is you can have different subscriptions, guys. Okay, under the Microsoft tenant ID, if you see, if you go to my subscriptions, right, if you select like this under the tenant ID, you can basically put this multiple subscriptions. As you see, this is my subscriptions basically. Okay, production and development. The reason I using two subscriptions, so that I want to give you a real-time view how exactly things work in real time. In real time, what will happen if you take some enterprise company, right? They'll have a tenant ID. Under this one, they'll have hundreds of subscriptions. What exactly is a subscription? Subscription will help you to understand the costs actually. For example, if there is a new project like a Java project, or like you want to convert everything into your cloud, this is a different project, right? You create a subscription. Why? What will happen? Subscription will help you in two things. One is to assign the permission. Second thing is you will understand at the high level what is the cost you are incurring. Okay, so it will give a high level. Okay, you can simply see, okay, why this subscription is costing more, why it is using, what is happening. It will give a high level overview. So that means, so normally this name is given by me, guys. Don't think that it'll get automatically, because you will get pay as you go, but you can actually come here, you can change it here. There is somewhere where you can rename this actually. See here rename, and basically you can give whatever you want. So don't think that you get, I just gave it as a production development. In your case, when you create, it will, I think, pay as you go, something will come. So it was been a long time, I don't remember. Yeah, right. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Under the subscription, what you're going to have is, sorry, under the tenant, you're going to have is subscriptions. Okay, so I'm going to say here, by the way, I'm going to say subscription ID. Okay, and the subscription ID looks same like a tenant ID. It was quite big. Copy that. Okay, okay. Right, so what I'm going to do here is, this is a subscription ID, guys. Okay, just 29. Okay, so this can, even you can have basically a name as well. For example, this one 29, what is this one? This is a production, right? So name is, I give production, and I'm going to give, this is development. So that means under this tenant, this is what we're going to do. So we can have, by the way, so under the subscription, it will be under the tenant, we're going to have subscription. So most probably when you're working in real-time environments, you're going to work inside a production, guys. I don't think you're going to create tenants and stuff. Maybe if you're lucky enough, you're going to create a subscriptions, by the way. Sometimes they'll ask, okay, we are getting a new project, why don't you set up the new subscription? Because if you want to set up a new subscription, why, I'll tell you why you can't create a subscription. Okay, because if you want to select a new subscription, what will happen is you need to enter your credit card details basically. So so you need to enter your financial details here. If you need to enter the financial, I think it will already be there, but you need to have it. That's why normally your boss or some guy from take the help of the finance, you set it up normally. Okay, so you need to go here. I'm not going to set it up, but I'm going to show you the steps actually how you can set it up.
Harsha, for free subscription also, this tenant got added that directly?
For a free trial?
Yeah, I have free trial, but when I go to the tenant, I don't see subscription added over there.
No, it should be there. See, when you go for subscriptions, maybe you're selecting, not selecting it. If you have, if you see, how do you came to conclusion that you have a free trial, by the way? How do you know?
No, I have created new account. I'm using from
Yeah,
last
account
20
is
days.
fine. Account is
Subscription I
fine.
have registered here. Okay, and that's
Are
it
you
is they're going to
saying,
expire in yeah.
1 minute, 1 minute. You're not, are you saying you don't see anything here?
Yeah, when I go to the subscription, I can see it's a free subscription valid till next 5-10 days, right? Because it is going to expire.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when I go to the tenant, right, in Azure directory, where I can't see subscription tagged under tenant.
No, don't worry about that one, because you don't need to be tagged actually, because whatever you are logging into here, right, it is basically, see, if I go to, for example, let me, there is Azure AD. So, okay, I go to Azure Active Directory here.
Yes. It's
Okay,
a default
if you
directory,
see
right?
here,
Yeah.
right, so default directory, if you see, subscriptions are not here, subscriptions are not
Yes.
actually mentioned here. Okay, it's fine, it is just
Right.
fine. What I'm trying to say is basically Azure AD is completely different basically to manage this one. So it's not mandatory it will be attached there, because since you are actually inside the tenant, that is why you are able to see this one. See, for example, if I open this one, okay, now what will happen is this is falls under one tenant, right?
I
That's
thought
why.
you are seeing that subscription under tenant. That's the reason I have that question.
Yeah, it is under the tenant only. What I'm trying to say is it is under the tenant. Okay, so for example, let me show you something. Let me show you something. It is little advanced, but I'll go and show something called as app registrations. This is more like a service account. If I open this app registrations, you see it is simply saying this is your tenant ID, and basically it is going to object ID and everything basically. So what will happen is this directory ID, everything, most probably this will falls under your subscription basically. So what you need to understand is everything you create, it will goes under the subscription definitely should go under some tenant actually. It should be part of
Okay.
some tenant. That is the default happening. Okay,
Got it.
right. So as I said, we can have under the tenant, with, see, without the tenant there is no subscription. So obviously under the tenant we have subscription. Now as I said, as I said, like you can't really add subscriptions. As I said, you can basically go select this offer, I mean, which is a pay as you go, and when you take that offer, you need to enter your financial credentials actually here, then only it will happen. That is why most of the environment you are not responsible for creating the uh, uh, see this one, you need to give details, you need to go to the payment information, for example, everything, right? So you need to enter everything. That is why you'll explain it to finance team or some your boss actually, who has given permission by the Microsoft to create the accounts actually. So most probably you will be creating resources under the subscription, not, you don't create the subscription, they won't give you that level. Okay, okay, what exactly it will go under subscription is at the high level. Normally we're going to have resource groups, we're going to have resource groups basically. What is a resource group? As the name suggests, resource group. What is saying? Resource group. That means it's a group of resources basically. That means whatever you create apart from Azure AD, whatever you create, it might be a VM, it might be an IP address, it might be a disk, it might be a database, it might be Azure DevOps. It will basically go at the it should go on to some sort of resource group actually. So that means under, what I'm trying to say is, I'll say like resource group, resource group, I have resource group. So So you will have, as I said, you have resource groups under subscription, guys. You have resource groups under subscription. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. So most probably you are going to create the resource groups whenever it is required for new project or a new application or a new testing environment. Basically, you're going to use the resource groups. Okay, like this. Actually, under the resource group you will get everything, guys, but initially what we're going to discuss is, okay, this is the Microsoft tenant, subscription and resource. Under the resource group, what I'm going to use this resource group, guys, the second one. And under resource groups, I'll take from a virtual machine perspective, by the way, because everything you create, it should go to resource group. But from a virtual machine point of view, what you can do is you can basically create networks, guys, virtual network, big networks. We're going to call it as virtual networks. I'll tell you how big it will, deep it will go. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, I'm going to say this is VNet 1. That means virtual network. I'm going to create after some time, guys. It's a VNet. VNet. I say VNet 1, and I'm going to say this one is VNet 2. Okay, the IP address ranges I can give here is, I'll say 10.1.0.0/16. You can give same VNet as well, but normally we're not going to do that. So this is actually called as VPC in AWS, guys. This is actually called as VPC in AWS. So many people think that resource group is VPC. No, it is a VNet, which is a VPC. Okay, so I'm going to give 10.2. This one, and this one is 10.1. Basically. Okay, so you will get virtual networks under a resource group, basically. Okay. Okay, under the VNet, what I'm going to do is we're going to create the subnets, guys. Remember the one of which we have created here, right? We have created, right, web servers, app servers, DB servers, right? Under the VNet, you're going to have, again, if you see, I'm going to take 3 more, by the way. Okay, something like this. So what I'm going to, I'm just taking one example, guys. Okay, we're going to do all these things. So here under this one, what we're going to have subnets, basically, because I'm going to divide that network. I'm going to divide that network, basically. Okay, so this is, that means 10.1.0.0/16 is a main network, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically divide this into web servers, app, web underscore servers, by the way, and we're going to go into by the way, app servers. I'll say app servers, and finally I'm going to give DB servers, and the IP addressing. I'm going to, of course, we need to do this type of IP addressing, but to make, I don't want to confuse you guys with the subnet. So what we're going to do, I'm going to give 10.1.1.0/24. Okay, and this one is that 1.2.0/24, and finally this is the third one, which we're going to take, by the way, 3.0/24, guys. And inside the subnets, you're going to get the VMs, all these things, but don't worry, at high level, this is what happening. So you have a tenant ID. Under the tenant ID, you're going to have the subscription ID. Under the subscription ID, you have a resource group. Under the resource group, you have VNet 1 and VNet 2. Under VNet, you have a subnet. Under the subnet, you're going to get VMs, whatever it is, whatever the part of the network you can go into it. It's not mandatory, guys. For example, it's not only you should get VNets here. What I'm trying to say is, in resource group, it's not mandatory you should have VNets. What I'm going to do is, if you want to create a storage account, it is also part of this one. It does not, it has nothing to do with the VNet. So I'll say like storage account, for example. What will happen is you can do this one. For example, you want to create one more, basically called as automation account, for example. Okay, Okay, you want to create I'll do one thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take this. Here it will be like automation account, for example. Of course, you understand all these things, so don't worry. See, automation account, Azure automation account. So that means what I'm trying to say is under the resource group, it is not only virtual networks and subnets. You'll have automation accounts, as well as if you want to like storage accounts, basically, as well as you can also go for Cosmos DB. It does not require a virtual network, basically. It is a separate services. It will falls under this one. Okay, like this, everything will actually goes to the resource group actually. Okay. Any questions, guys? Anything you didn't understand? Is the conceptual wise the hierarchy clear, guys? Any questions? Guys, any questions? Why no questions at all? You are free to ask.
Is that resource group is unique one? Like
I'll come to that one. I'll explain about resource group. Next we're going to talk about that. What is resource group? But my expectation is the hierarchy clear? If that is clear, remaining we can go into the resource group and we discuss about that one.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Any questions, guys? Please. Yes, yeah.
Yes, see, suppose in a company we have two departments. For each department, we can create a different resource group, right?
See, that depends upon how big is the department. Okay, so for example, if you have a small company, okay, so you can have one subscription, and then inside that one you can create resource group. But imagine if you take a company like Infosys, for example. Infosys financial department is so huge, HR department is so huge, so you can't put everything in because they have their own big servers, right? So during that time, what you do, you have one Infosys tenant account. Under that one, what you can do, you can put one for HR, one for IT, one for like that. Depends upon how big is your environment.
Okay.
Any questions, guys?
The resource group is like a storage and VM. What exactly is it?
Oh, I'm coming to that one. Next, we're going to discuss about resource group only. So if you're clear with this one, with the hierarchy, right, then we go to the resource group only. I'll explain in detail, so don't worry. Is the hierarchy clear, guys? Okay, fair enough. Let's go ahead and understand what is a resource group basically. Okay, so let me tell you, resource group is nothing. Okay, resource group is nothing, to be honest. Resource group is nothing but a logical boundary, guys. Okay, see, resource is nothing but it's a logical boundary. Okay, for example, you are going with your son. Actually, you are going with your son. Okay, now is there is any specific boundary saying that one is he your son? If the person sees you, your friend sees you, saying that he knows, okay, you are his friend and he's your son. But is there is any clear indication of a boundary, like before you, like a Wi-Fi or something, like boundary, like he's my son? No, it's not, right? If you go for a class, for example, if you attend a class, right? So if you attend a class and you have this if you have the sir at the dais, basically maybe at the board, and you are sitting in your benches, right? If there is any boundary where it will actually say, okay, he is sir and you are students? No, you are all in the same class only. But there is a virtual boundary saying that one, okay, he is the master, we need to give the respect. So there is a clear cut of boundary, right? But it's logical, it is not physical. Similarly, resource group is actually a logical boundary, it is not physical. See, for that, what you need to understand here is there is a concept which is called ASM, which is old Azure, which is called Azure Service Manager. Let me tell you, the resource group which you are seeing is came in, I think in 2017 only. It was not there before, because the cloud itself has been started, sorry, 17 only, not 7, the right, maybe 16. The cloud, the Azure cloud was started in 2010, whereas AWS started in 2006 basically. Until 2016 or 15 end or 16, it is actually called as Azure Service Manager. You really don't have any concept of resource group, let me tell you. Okay, I still remember. Okay, it was in the 2017s. We used to get at the top saying that one, please check the preview of Azure portal. Okay, Azure portal, and they have disabled completely, and I think in 2019, I think so, they have moved everything and they removed it. After that, it is actually called as ARM, which is Azure Resource Manager. Okay, Azure Resource Manager. That is where the ARM came into outside, because we're going to talk about ARM templates. That is how the ARM came, the abbreviation of ARM came. Okay, now in the concept of resource group came in the Azure Resource Manager. So what Azure will say is, you can take any resource. When I take a resource, it can be an IP address, it can be a virtual machine, it can be a virtual machine disk, it can be a firewall, it can be a database. Everything is a resource, but that particular resource should be part of a resource group. That's very simple. It's like a folder, guys. Simply saying, what exactly is a resource group is, it is like a folder. Okay, so that means, imagine I can have test resource group, development resource group, and production resource group, so that I can group my resources as per the requirement. So in other words, how you going to, like, movies in one folder, songs in one folder, as well as your study documents in one folder, all these things, right? So everything here also, you're going to group that resources in different folders. That folder is basically called as this folder is basically called as a resource group. That's it. Okay, what is the advantage of having a resource group? What is the things I'm going to get by having a resource group? Because you can actually manage it, you can give the permissions. For example, test environment is there. What you can do, you can only give the testing or development people to access that particular resource group, so that they can't really have the access to any others actually. Okay, so that is why resource group came into the picture. Now let me tell you, here there is one of the interesting concept. When you are creating a resource group, right, what it is going to say, it is ask for the region. Let me show it to you. Okay, I'll go to portal. Actually, I'll go to the portal, I'll go to the resource groups. See, sometimes when you are doing a practice, right, you're going to get this network watcher resource group. Don't worry about that one. And resource group is free, guys. When you create a resource group, don't think that you're going to put some charges. No, I'm going to tell you what, when you're practicing, whenever you are deploying something, I'm going to tell you what is chargeable and what is not chargeable, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to click on add. I'm going to go ahead and select the subscription, and I'm going to, I'll say, test resource group. Okay, test resource group, and you need to select the region actually. Next tags, you can leave the tags review and create. Now I'm going to add one more, by the way. So I'll go to again production. I'm going to say like dev rg review and create. I say create, and I'm going to add one more. Go here, prod rg and create. Now I have created 3 resource groups, guys, basically, and you can see what you need to do. What you can notice is all the 3 I have created in East US. But let me tell you, resource group is not a physical boundary. It is not a physical boundary, guys. If I say physical boundary, for example, what does it mean is, you can't add any resources from the other region. See, the resource group has been in East US, right? But it's not a physical boundary, guys. Okay, let me show you what I meant actually. I'm going to create a virtual network, by the way. I'm going to go to the virtual networks. I'll explain about virtual networks, don't worry. I just want to show you a resource group is not a physical boundary. So by creating 3 virtual networks in different regions, yeah. Okay, I'll go here. I'm going to click virtual network. I'm going to test the prod RG. I'm going to test prod RG. I'm going to say like a test VNet 1. See, region is, I'm not going to select test East US. You can select, okay, let's do it. Let's create East US. Review and create. And create. Okay, next again, I'll go to create a virtual network. This time I'm going to give again same, which is prod RG. I'm going to give VNet 2. Let me show it to you. I'll go select East or West US, guys. I'm going to select West or East US 2, by the way. So even I can give same IP addresses. Normally we should not give, but I'll just create it. Done. Well, again, I'm going to go ahead and I'll say prod is fine. I'm going to select prod RG. Here I'm going to say like VNet 3, and I'm going to, you can search it out actually. I'm going to say like West US 1, and I'm going to IP addresses, review and create, and create. And again, add. I'm going to say again, so prod RG, I'm going to say VNet 4. So, oh, sorry. I want to put in create it, guys. Now, what you need to notice is if you see I have VNet 1, 2, 3. It will take little time to show up. It is already created, but it will take a little time to show up here. Resource group will be very fast creation, but when you create resources, it will take little time basically to show up here. But it's okay. So if you see 1, 2, 3, 4, if you see I have created in East US 2, West US 2. What this proves is the resource group may be created in a East US, but it is not a physical boundary. You can add resources from a different region as well. For example, imagine you are working an application. That application is basically in East US and West US. So you can put in one resource group. You can also put in different resource groups. It's nothing going to happen, guys. But you need to keep that in mind always. Resource group is just a grouping of resources so that you can give access, or you can also find out how much cost it is happening. But it is not a physical boundary. That means you can add resources from other regions as well inside a resource group. Just keep that in mind. Okay, but virtual network is there, right? It is basically a regional resource actually. That means in VNet 1, right, you can put servers only in East US. That's it. You can't, when you're deploying server in West US, you can't see VNet 1 basically. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is let me show you something. I'll go to the virtual machines. So I'm going to add a virtual machine, by the way. I'm going to select the prod RG. I'm going to say VM1. If I select East US, by the way, so what I want to do is I'll go to, I'm not going to do anything, guys. I'm just going to go networking. So what we can see is you can only basically see VNet 1, guys. See, you're not seeing VNet 2, 3, and 4 because VNet 2 is in East US 2, West US, and VNet 3 is in West US, and the VNet 4 is West US 2. So I'll go back basically. I'll go here, and what I'm going to change is I'm going to change this to East US 2, guys. Imagine. Okay, so if I go to networking, you see VNet 2 basically. Okay, fine. If I basically if I go to, for example, West US 2 disks and networking, you see like VNet 4. You're not able to see anything VNet 1, 2, 3. That means what you need to understand is the resource group is not region dependent. It's a logical boundary, but the virtual network is region dependent. Our virtual network is region dependent. Is it clear, guys? Any questions here? Is there any questions about resource group? Anything you didn't understand about resource group? I know it will be a little confusing, but you should understand it's not a physical boundary. That is what I'm expecting to understand. Any questions here? मेरे प्यार देशवासियों, any questions? Is it clear at least? What is resource group?
Harsha, this is
Yes.
Hari. So
Yes, Hari.
this virtual machines are also region dependent, right?
No, think logical. Yeah, you are right. Because if see, virtual machines are going inside a virtual network, and virtual network is region dependent, so obviously it will be region dependent only, right? That's logical.
Okay. Got it.
Yes, guys. Somebody asking something? Mitro, any questions?
So Harsha,
yes.
Yeah. So resource group is basically a logical boundary where it is mainly used for giving the permissions to set off department.
Yes, and grouping the resources. Yeah.
Grouping the resources. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think everyone is clear of the resource group. Okay, it's very good. So next thing what we need to do is, see, after your practice, by the way, okay, after your practice, it's one of the irritating thing I can say is deleting of resources is little headache in Azure. So that's why whenever I'm done with my thing, right, I'm going to directly go ahead and delete the resource group, guys. I directly go and select it resource, because what will happen is, this is fine, we have only VNets. When what will happen is, when you deploy the virtual machines, right, in AWS everything is separate, like virtual machine is separate, operating system disk is separate, data disk is separate. So if you go for AWS, delete the machine, it will delete everything. But here it's not like that. IP address will be separate, everything is separate, it won't delete. That's why it will be, sometimes it will be annoying. That's why I do is, whenever I done my lab, right, I directly go delete the whole resource group. That means it will delete everything, but sometimes it won't allow you to delete the resource group if you are using recovery service vaults and everything. I'll tell you where it won't be allowed to create. Now if we go back to our okay, so we are done with here, guys. We are basically done with here. Now what we want to do is, I want to basically take a basic infrastructure for our, because you need to practice it, right? So you have 5 days, next 5 days, where you need to practice and do everything. Let me tell you guys, I'm going to give the access to yesterday's video and today's video to the people who paid the fee only. So I already have 3 guys. Guys, I'm going to send an email after this class, what are the steps, and Paul, I'm going to give you the access. I got all your details, right? I'm going to give you the access. I send an email. Remaining 2 guys also, I'm going to send you the email and give you the access, so you can study for next week, so that you'll get hands-on basically. Okay, so these are not demo sessions, guys. These are live sessions. But I'll just give it for free. Normally you can attend it, but these are not demo sessions, so that by next week it will be for the people who already paid the fee. I'm going to share a new email, a new meeting ID. You can join that one. Okay, right. Now next thing what I'm going to do is, we're going to discuss about, okay, to set up a basic infra. But to set up a basic infra, what I'm going to do is, before that, I want to make it as a 0.6, guys, because 0.5 I want to explain something called as a CloudShell actually. Okay, I want to explain about, it's a wonderful thing actually, to make things very easy. Okay, I want to explain about the CloudShell. Now what is CloudShell? So let's do one thing. It is 6 o'clock. Let's take a 5-minute break, guys, because I'm keep on talking from past 2 hours. So let me have some water. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll just convene back in 5 minutes, and we can go with Azure CloudShell. It's very interesting, and we're going to discuss all this. Maybe VNet peering might not be done today, but I'm going to explain about CloudShell as well as the basic infra for our lab. Actually, I'm going to say lab. That means we're going to set up I'll do things like manually. I'm going to say manually, or I can say our lab using port. Come on, lab using portal. And I want to show you the pain in that one to do that. Next is the seventh thing I'm going to do is Azure basic infra, deploy everything, by the way, using CloudShell, guys. CloudShell, because we're going to run a set of scripts and sip the coffee and everything comes up basically. Okay, if that is done before everything before 7 o'clock, right, then what I'm going to explain you about the VNet peering. Otherwise, what we'll do is either we know VNet peering or we directly go to the Q&A. Why? Because it will be 3 hours. Normally we'll explain even that one also from next week, but there are some few guys who joined for new. I'm going to explain the Q&A basically, and we'll shift to the Azure VNet peering next week, because you have a lot of things to study. Almost like yesterday it will be 2.5 hours. This will be a 3-hour 5.5 hour class you need to cover by next weekend. Okay, that's why. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break, guys. I'll back in 5 minutes and we'll continue from there. Okay, if you want to grab some coffee, you can go ahead. Yep. Okay, guys, let's proceed. So what are we doing? Okay, we need to set up our basic infra for our lab using the portal, guys, or I can say like Azure portal to be precise. Yeah, am I recording this? Give me 1 minute, guys. I didn't disabled it. Yeah, it is recording here. So we're going to talk about Azure portal actually. Okay, so I mean we're going to deploy using the Azure portal. So let's do this. So first I need to go into list the scripts, list the things like what are the steps you need to do. So create resource group, create VNet. Along with VNet, you'll get a subnet by the way. So first subnet, or you can give like create additional subnets. Fourth, create along with the subnets, you really don't need the NSC right now. So what I'm going to do is create a VM, okay, and or I can say create NSG network security group. It's like a firewall, guys. We're going to discuss about that one. And I'm say create VM. Sixth one is access the VM or RDP to the VM. Okay, these are the 6 steps we need to do. And again, 6th step is nothing to do with the portal, by the way. First 5 steps you need to do it from the portal. So the reason I'm taking this step is you need to understand every time for you to create all these manual things, right? It is a little hard for you. That is why we're going to utilize a CloudShell. By the way, what I was saying not here, right? So where is it? Here. So we need to talk about CloudShell. Let's do one thing. Let's move this little down actually. Okay, first I'm going to show you the pain of doing using the manually, and then we discuss about the CloudShell, and then we deploy using the CloudShell. Okay, right. So let's do that one by one, guys. Okay, first creating RG, we already did that, but let's do that again from the scratch. So okay, so I'm going to add a resource group. I'm going to say select my subscription, and I'm going to say like Eng Azure batch B03 basically. So this is basically my 3rd batch in English, guys, basically, because I'm actually doing a lot from in Telugu right now. It is going almost like 12th batch in Telugu, but I started in this year to teach in English as well. So it's a 3rd batch, by the way. Okay, so next is now I'm just going to give you you can give the tags. It's not required to give the tags, but you can give like environment is equal to prod, or owner is equal to whatever the tags you want actually. Owner, so review and create, and we can basically create it. So you can see Eng Azure B03 is created, guys. Yeah, so next, what is the second thing? So I want to create a VNet and additional subnets. Okay, now when you create a resource group, you're not going to give any sort of IP addresses, all these things, guys. No, it's a logical entity, just grouping of the resources, nothing else. So you really don't need to give anything. It is a virtual network. It is a virtual network. You are supposed to give everything, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically go to the virtual networks here, by the way. See, these are all favorites, guys. If you're not able to find something, right, what you can do is you can directly go to the search palette, and you can search from there. Let me show you. So this is a search palette. Here, what I'm going to, if I type like virtual, you'll get networks, or you can, there are also shortcuts, like if you type a VNet, for example, still it will show virtual networks. Okay, shortcuts also works. So select the virtual networks, you will get the virtual networks. Okay. Now I'm going to come here, create a virtual network. So I'm going to select my resource group, and here I'm going to give, for example, Eng Azure. Okay, so hyphen VNet, sorry, Eng Azure B03 hyphen VNet hyphen 1, by the way. Okay, VNet 1. Now next IP. Now it is asking for your range, guys. So you can actually give 8 also, it will also take 8, but these guys will recommend. So if I go, it is saying that prefix function, oh, you're actually giving for one. I never seen people using one, guys. So it is saying that they're asking private IP ranges should be /8. It is asking it in 10 dot, it is asking /8. If you're using 170.16 using /12. If you're using this, something like this, okay, it's asking use value like this, that must be contained one IP address. So what I do is I'm going to do something like this, 10.0.0 / I can use /16. It works basically. You can, if you want, you can give multiple IP address as well, but it's not required right now. Okay, you can give like 10.2. You can do, but anyway, it's not required. If you see, you are going to get 65,000 IP addresses, guys. See, it is showing 10.1.00 to 255. Okay, now by default you can create one subnet. So I can add a subnet. I'm going to give the subnet name, right? So I'm going to, what is the network name which we give? I go to the basics, copy this. So not this one, copy this IP addresses. I'm going to say add a subnet. I'm going to give something like, I'm going to say subnet 1. Subnet 1. Now in this, I'm going to give 10.1. You can start with 0, but I start with 0/24. So what you need to understand is your virtual network address space is 10.1. Okay, and you have selected East US also, by the way. If I go to here, if I go to basics, see, it is selected East US. Okay, so I think I need to add it. Okay, no problem. Give it, I'm going to say 10.1.1.0/24. Don't worry about service points, all these things we're going to cover slowly. Click on add. Okay, if you want to further add also, you can do that. If you want to add one more subnet, for example, you say like subnet 2, and I want to give 10.1.2.0/24. okay, want to add, you can add this one. So I'm going to show you how to add subnet 3 once the VNet is created. Okay, so net security, don't worry, all these things I'm going to put everything in disable. We're going to talk in detail later next week. So if you want to give the tags, you can give review and create, and see, region is East US. Now let me tell you, VNet is region based. Okay, if you create a VNet in one region, only the resources in that region can use that virtual network. Okay, I'm going to create it. It is done, guys. So again, if I go to, what you can do is, if you want to make it right, if you actually can go to all services here. If you want, you can search for VNet. Here, if you select it, right, it will come a pop-up. You can put this star, actually. You select it. For example, what I want to do is, let me do it. I'll go to mobile. Okay, I have this notification up. I want to, right now, you see star is empty. If I make it this one, then it will get added at the last, actually. Check it out, notification hubs. If I go here and then remove the star, it is gone, guys. Okay, like that you can do that. Anyway, so I'm going here and VNet. It is created. If I go inside, okay, and go to the subnets, by the way, you see 2 subnets. If I want to add the additional subnet, right, don't worry about gateway subnet. We go, there is a lot of things, right? We are not even like not even 10%, actually. It's just we're below maybe 5% we're discussing. So there are a lot of things we need to discuss. Okay, 3 actually, sorry, 3. You can't use basically the IP once it is used, right? You can't use the IP, right? For example, if I give 10.1. again 1. It is going to say it is basically, it is already used, user specific. So I'm going to take 3.0, by the way, and create it. So this is how, as you can see, you can basically create the subnets. Okay, next, create NSG. NSG stands for network security groups, right? This is called network security group in AWS. It is networks. It's a kind of a firewall for the virtual machines and databases, say like network, and also secure, sorry, and subnets as well. Network security group, short form NSG. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to basically go here and say NSG, network security groups. I'm going to create a network security group. There is a separate class for this one, guys, so don't worry. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to select my resource group, and I'll say like nsg-1, create and create. Now I need to do some base configuration, and I'll say allow all traffic for now, because for you're still in the initial phase. So it should be created. I'll go to the resource. It is created. You have inbound rules and outbound rules. That means what is inbound? If somebody is coming from outside to inside your home, that's a inbound. If you're going outside the house to some market, get something, that's an outbound basically. Outbound is not the concern because it's already open to the internet, guys. It is the inbound the concern, because it won't allow from internet. I'm going to add something. I'm going to add source, means anywhere. Here also I'm going to give a star. We're going to discuss about, just follow my lead on this one. Don't worry what I'm doing all these things, because we're going to discuss during NSGs actually. Okay, and I'm going to say here, I'm going to say like, or simply allow all traffic, all traffic rule, and click on add. That's why it's showing an orange warning saying that one, boss, you are actually allowing all traffic from anywhere. So it's a threat basically, but it's okay. So it is for testing. Okay, now coming to the last step, guys. Last step, create a VM, and then we're going to RDP into the VM. Okay, let's create a VM. So for that, I'm going to again go here, and I'll say like put VM, and I should set virtual machines. Go to the virtual machines, and you see it's nothing is here. So I'm going to go here and add virtual machine. And the resource group what we have created is, if you see, this is the resource group, and I'm going to give basically Windows VM1, by the way, East US. Don't worry about this availability option. So we have a lot of things to discuss here. You need to select your operating system, and I will go for 2016 Gen 1. And here you need to select what type of instance, what is the CPU and memory. Again, we discuss about that later. Simply select. If you are selecting Windows, right, better you select B2MS or B2S, because you'll get 2 CPU 4 gigs and 2 CPU 8 gigs. I select 2 CPU 8 gigs. Give username whatever you want. I'm going to give Sri, and give some 12 character password, guys. Okay. Okay. Now I'm not going to select any public box, because we're going to assign the NSG later. Select this and go next. I'm going to leave very much default. I'm not going to touch anything. Next. Here, see, here it is showing only your VNet in your. So if you have what I want to do is, see, sometimes it won't, the VNets will not be visible from the other region, but if you have a VNet in a different resource group, you can still use it. Actually, I'm going to show that later, but if we are still in the fundamentals, here it is showing all the three, guys, all the three subnets. I'm going to stick to this one, and it will create a public IP, because if you don't create a public IP, you can't connect it in real time. It's not required, but now it's required. And we already have a network security group. I'm going to advance, and I'm going to select our network security created. Select that. Next, leave this defaults, or I'll disable boot diagnostics. Advance. Next, review and create. And it is going to show me the cost, that it is going to bill me every hour 6 rupees for running this VM. Okay, that's fine with me. I'm going to give you the summary what you're doing, by the way, and kick it off. Now if you see, these are the things you need to do, if you want to create a lab every time you delete it. Of course, creating of VNets and subnets is a one-time activity, but if you are practicing the lab, it will be little headache, guys. I told you to delete the whole virtual machine, again recreating it, and if you're practicing load balancing everything, it is going to eat up your time, and this is not an efficient method to create your lab. Okay, so it's machine. How come it is deployed so fast, man? Windows machine will take time normally. So anyway, it deployed. Now if you see, once you deploy it, right, you can see there is basically a public IP. Now every machine you will have a private IP. See this, you have a private IP as well as public IP. I will explain that next coming classes, guys. This is just like to understand how you can able to set up your Azure environment, basic environment, so that you can practice in coming next 5 days. Okay, now I told you 10.1.1.4. Okay, you need to understand what is the necessity of giving a public IP. There is a private IP, right? See, I'm basically sitting in Pune, and the server you are seeing, right, you are watching on your screen, right? It is actually not a the Windows server. It's not actually coming from a laptop, guys. It is basically coming from a server in AWS. Actually, if I go here, type host name, you should see EC2 AMAZ. That means EC2 Amazon. So the server is in Amazon. From that, I'm streaming my screen to you. So that what will happen if by any chance if some network issue comes from the Pune, right? It will take some time to flip it will flip my internet or connect to the geo. All this, it will take time. Meanwhile, it should not get disconnected. That is why I basically did that. I'm streaming from there. And moreover, Azure portal will be very fast. Now that's what that means. I can't connect from AWS or my laptop to using a private IP, right? Unless I have a VPN connectivity, everything. That is why you require IP. But in real-time environments, you're not going to assign a public IP to the server, guys, because it's a threat actually. People can ping that and get that server down. It's called DDoS attack. I'll explain later. Okay, I'll explain that later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically, okay, connect to this one. They copy this. And hit enter. It is asking the credentials. So I'm going to use, it is not part of the domain. So I'm going to use localhost, or you can use the IP address, but I use localhost, and I'm put Sri and the password which I have created or given when I deployed it. Click on yes. That's it, guys. So you are able to logged into the machine. That means you have deployed a resource group, you have deployed a VNet, subnets, network security, everything. And this is how you can deploy a server into Azure actually, Azure cloud. Okay, literally. Okay, this is how. So you can actually see it, right? This is the server basically. Now these are the steps which are involved if you want to deploy manually. These are the steps which are involved, and it's okay if it is a one-time activity. You can do it, guys. Imagine you need to practice every day. You need to build something like this every day, right? So what will happen? It's very, very tough, guys. It's very, very tough. So that's why what we need to do is, and let me tell you one more thing. If you join some company, right, as part of the job, or leave about the company, if you're going for some sort of interview, and if you expect that the interviewer is going to ask, okay, in the portal where you are going to do, no reputed company or a company which is using cloud is going to use portal to deploy the things, guys. They're going to use command line, especially they're going to use the Azure DevOps or some sort of a CI/CD tool to automate all the deployments. And we are going to we're going to talk at the last. You might ask me, sir, why don't you show you that one directly? Yes, I'm okay to show you guys, but you won't understand a bit actually, because I know how the commands and CI/CD works, but you don't understand. So the agenda here is to understand how Azure works. We do it from the portal. At the last, we're going to also do that from the, I also normally use the command line as well and PowerShell as well. But at the last weekend, 8 hours, almost 7 to 8 hours, I'm going to use Azure DevOps to automate all the process of deployments. Okay. Right, this is how you're going to boot it. You can install whatever you want in this Windows server. Okay, but let me tell you, I use Windows server very, very less, guys. I use most probably Linux servers, because Windows servers will take time, as well as it is costly. You require more CPU and RAM. See, this is 2 CPU and 8 GB RAM, right? You know what, I can run 4 servers with this with Linux actually, because Linux works beautifully with 1 CPU and 2 GB RAM. It works beautifully, even 1 GB RAM. So I use Linux mostly for when explaining load balancers, application gateways. Sometimes I require even 5 servers to deploy. If I deploy in Linux, it will be very costly. So I need to keep you in mind so that you should not get too much of cost. That is why we're going to use Linux a lot. Okay, it's not like we're not going to use like too much of Linux where it will be very confusing. It's a base Linux, so you can do the job, so don't worry. Okay, these are the 4 steps which we have achieved, and next thing is we need to discuss about the CloudShell and deploy using the CloudShell. Okay, so any questions guys, anything you didn't understand here, or any confusions here, or any queries here? Or is it clear? Guys, is it clear? Yes, no, all right, 50-50.
Yes.
Gopichand, what you are doing here? You already completed the Azure, right? Or you're
No,
in
sir.
DevOps?
I completed at AWS and DevOps.
Ah, okay, so my mistake. Okay,
Uh,
okay, fine, good.
I came here for demo only.
Okay, right. No worries, no worries. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, fine.
fine then. Let's go and check it out, guys. Let's what we're going to do here is, okay, this is fine. I'm going to delete everything. So whenever your lab is done, so what you can do is you can directly go here, guys. Go to resource groups, and the best thing you can do is to get rid of. See, the problem is why I want you to delete everything here, right? So let me show you what is the problem. I can go to the virtual machines. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to delete a virtual machine. It will get deleted. Now one thing you need to understand Azure, guys, is, for example, in order to this VM should work, right, what are the things you require to this work? I think it should, you need to have like a VM, you need to have like a disk, you also need to have like a network interface, and also the IP addresses. The problem is when you delete a VM, unless at least it will only delete VM, but it won't delete this NIC IP, and it will be like that only. Okay, again you need to separately delete that. Okay, so that is the reason to avoid that one unnecessary billing, because if you don't delete the disk you will get bill actually. So if I go here, see under the resource group, you're going to get everything. It will show everything basically. See this, this disk actually, as well as as a network interface, as well as the IP. Only the VM will get deleted, guys. Only the VM get deleted. So if you see it's deleted, check it out. So how can I make it little? Okay, so you see VM is deleted. If I refresh, right, if you refresh, so what will happen? It won't delete the OS disk and everything. That's why again you need to delete them. So that's why what I do is I straight away go ahead and delete the resource group. Whatever is there in the resource group, it will straight delete it actually. Okay, and I'm going to delete it. Okay, it will get deleted, guys. This is how you do the things in GUI in portal. Now what I'm going to do is, you see there is a small icon here. It's called as CloudShell, guys. You can click on it. It is going to open something called as, you see, the CloudShell is available in 2 things actually. One is PowerShell, the other one is Bash shell. Bash is for like Linux commands, PowerShell is for PowerShell commands. I mostly use Bash shell, guys, because AZCLI for the AZCLI commands. You can open it from here, but normally I don't do it from here. What I do is I'll go here directly and type shell.azure.com. Of course you can create it, it will open a full window, but my habit is I directly open. And first time when you create it, right, it will ask you to create a storage account and everything. You can do that. So now I'm here. Now what I'm going to do is the AZCLI commands works here, guys. For example, if I say AZ group list, for example, all Linux commands will work. See, I got AZ group list, everything. For example, I want to get the name. I can use like grep-i name. You will get the name. So name of that, check it out, guys. Okay, like this actually. Even if I want to delete here, I can do it here. For example, let me show you. So I want to delete test RG and dev RG. I'm going to select AZ group delete -n. I'm going to say like dev RG -. Yes. So if you give S, right, directly from command line, right, you can actually delete that one. So like this. So I'm going to delete it, and also I'm going to delete the whole infrastructure. Check it out how easy it will be for creating it. Okay, so to create that one, what I'm going to do is, let me show you the script. I'm going to share the script with you guys, so don't worry. Okay, so this is the script. What I'm going to do is echo running the script. No, you don't need this actually. Echo creating. If I copy this, all these things, it is going to create a Azure. It's going to take like the resource group, everything. So I'm going to copy simply. Check it out. I'm going to copy everything. Why we have all these things here? Give me one minute. Let me delete this, guys. Let me delete this actually. Okay, I want to create test VM 2 and 3. Now important thing here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use B1 LS, means smallest, because these are Linux machines, guys, and it uses like 512 MB RAM. It works beautifully actually. So don't worry, I'm going to explain all these things, so you don't need to worry about it. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this all these three machines. Okay, and I'm going to copy, and I'll go to the here, and I have a cloud drive here, which I have a file, for example, called as cloud init actually, which has some data where it will install the Nginx web server. So don't worry, you don't need to know that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all these things. You can use right click and basically paste, or you can use shift insert to paste it. Now what will happen, it created the resource group, by the way, and it is creating the VNet for me, which is 10.1. Also one subnet actually. And it is creating the additional subnets, by the way. If you see, it is actually subnet create. It is creating subnet 2, and it's creating subnet 3, and it is creating the NSG. Okay, now it's creating NSG rule. I mean the firewall rule. We allowed all the traffic, right? That rule is getting created. And after that is going to create availability set. Don't worry about availability set. Now it's not required for you. We'll understand later. It is a 10 weekend class, guys. So like almost like it will go for 70 hours or 65 to 70 hours. We're going to discuss a lot. So the expectation is after these things, okay, after these things, I don't say you'll become a professional in this one, guys, but if you are able to practice whatever I said and dig some on your own, learn something new things. See, whatever I'm going to give you, if you practice, you are not a professional. What else you can do apart from that? Okay, so if you can able to that, I think you will become very good in Azure. And I think I don't see any reason why someone should not hire you if you also know DevOps or and AWS as well. Okay, now it is deploying the first server, guys. Check it out. It is creating a Azure B03 test VM1. Any questions, guys, meanwhile? Any questions?
Yeah, this Koti. So when we're creating VMs, disk and all the things, is it chargeable while using this free trial also?
No, free trial, they are giving you $200 for free trial, right? It's not chargeable, but there are limitations in your free trial. You can't really have more than 4 CPUs in a region. There are some restrictions. So imagine if you want to create 4 servers, each one is 2 CPU. You can't do that. You can only create only up to 4 CPUs. So yeah, but it is free until 1 month.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Questions, guys? Questions, guys? Well, let it come, guys. First server is not it. Okay, this is the first server. Come on. So we can verify at the back. Is it really happening? This is test VM1 is going, right? It will be fast. It's going to. So I can go back, go to the resource groups, and you see Azure B8 is already created. Here you can see like, see test VM1 is already created. If I go to virtual machines, by the way, so it is running. So the second should be fired by this. So see, if one is gone, it is showing even the public IP address and all these things, right? Now the second thing is coming. Second server is also getting kicked off. So like this, what will happen? Sometimes when you are dealing, when you need to deploy, when you need to practice a load balancer or traffic manager or firewall, right, you might need to deploy multiple resource groups or multiple VNets and everything. During that time, it's very hard to do it again and again for you guys to practice. So you need to use this CloudShell to make it very easy. Once you get high, don't think these commands are very tough actually. If you do for 5-6 times, right, it is done. I'm telling you, you really don't touch the portal actually. You try to do everything command line. Okay, so that what will happen is portal is very useful if you want to refer whether something is created, something you require an IP address of something. Yes, the portal is fine, and moreover, in real-time environments, they don't encourage you to do things from the portal. But the reason you need to do here is first understand how it is done. Okay, okay, so if you know how you do it through the portal, then you can understand how to do it from the command line. Otherwise, if you straight I go to the command line, I will understand, but you won't understand. Okay, let's see. So this is server 2. Okay, so this is how basically using the command line we can able, let it come, guys. Meanwhile, let's discuss about theoretically what exactly is VNet peering. Okay, now one thing you need to understand here is if we have multiple VNets, imagine if you take multiple VNets. So here, here, here. So imagine this is VNet 1, VNet 2, and VNet 3. Give me 1 minute, guys. Give me 1 minute. Guys, my kid is throwing the doors badly, so okay. Okay, so imagine you have 3 VNets, guys, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, so here I'm going to put some basically like this is VM1, and this is going to be VM2, and this is going to be VM3, guys. Okay, I have 3 VMs. But what you need to understand is by default these 3 VMs cannot communicate with each other. These VMs cannot communicate with each other. So what we need to do is we need to establish something called as a VNet peering, which is actually called as VPC peering in AWS. So that means what you're supposed to do is I'm going to have a connectivity. Okay, so for example, this actually. Okay, so that means VNet 1 is straight connected to the VNet 3 now, and VNet 1 is connected to VNet 2. Now here is the important point, same rules is applicable for even for AWS as well. Okay, so here the IP address should be different, guys. If I say IP address should be different, what I'm trying to say here is, imagine if this address space is, for example, let me move a little bit left. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, if this is 10.1.1.0/16, now if you want to connect with the other VNets, right, the IP address should not match actually. I mean, it should be different actually, or not same as VNet 1. So that means this VNet should be 10.2.0/16. And finally, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to basically move this here a little bit. (10.3.0.0/16). So first you need to have the different IP addresses. Second important thing is, this is the VNet peering, right? This is VNet peering. As I was telling you, this is a VNet peering. This is VNet peering. Now VNet peering don't support transit, guys. If I say transit, what you need to understand is, that means, see, VNet 1 is connected to VNet 3 and VNet 1 is also connected to the VNet 2. Doesn't mean that VM3 can communicate with VNet like this. No, it won't. This is basically transit. Imagine this is India, this is US, and this is Dubai. Okay, so you are actually trying to go to Dubai and catch a flight, you go. So Dubai become a transit actually here, right? So that is not supported. VNet peerings are one-to-one. That means what you need to have is, you need to create your own. Again, from here, what you are supposed to do, you need to create something like this, basically like this. So again, this is also VNet peering. Like this, you need to create one-to-one. I'm just giving an introduction, guys, how you can do that. So like this, you need to connect these two actually. Okay, so let's see our whether everything is completed. If you see, all the three servers are deployed, guys. If you can see all the three servers, you know the magic of the scripting. You know what I did? I also, if I refresh it, you can see three machines: test VM 1, 2, 3, and B1NS, and you have the public IPs. Now if I copy this public IPs, okay, because along with that one I have installed a script. So what it will give you is something like this. It will give you basically, welcome to Nginx. Copy the second thing. Welcome to Nginx. Get the third one. Welcome to Nginx. So not only if I need to do that again, I need to do that manually in here, right? So but I have using the script, I have actually installed a web server as well inside this one. So everything is just only one click. I need to copy a ready-made script and I run in a CloudShell. That's it, guys. Everything is done. Okay, so imagine I also want to have one more network, right? You can actually create one more network, and what you can do is, you can actually establish between the VNet peering, but I'm not willing to do the VNet peering today, guys. Okay, the time won't enough basically, but this is how you actually connect it. So that means these virtual machines, right, since they have a different IP ranges, that means what you need to understand, even these IPs, one thing you need to understand about the VNet, right? When you create a VNet and a subnet, right? Imagine you create a subnet called as, for example, 10.1.1.0/24. Remember, the first three IPs will be used by Azure itself. This is the same case in AWS as well. That means it is going to use 10.1.1, 10.1.1.2, 10.1.1.3. So you can actually use the IPs. These three are used by Azure. What I'm trying to say is, Azure, Azure, Azure. Okay, From the fourth, you can actually automatically will be assigned to, you don't need to manually assign, automatically it will pick a IP, will be assigned to the virtual machines or other devices basically. That is what it is going to happen. That is why if you notice the IP addresses of the servers which deployed, right, you'll notice the 1.4, 2.4, 3.4. You can't really use 1.1, 2 and 3 IP address. That 4 IP address will be usable actually. Okay, this is how basically what you can do is you can actually deploy it actually. Okay, and using the scripting. Any questions, guys? Anything you didn't understand here? Is it clear? Now if I want to delete everything, right, so what I can do, I can basically delete the other. I'll do one thing, since I have still 10 more minutes, I just show you how you can actually manipulate this script and create one more. Okay, so in the same one, see this let me go up. See, what I want is, I'm going to copy this script, by the way. I'm going to paste here. I'm going to change a few things. I'm going to say VNET 2. I'm going to say 10.2, and I'm going to say the IP address here 10.2.1.0. And here the resource group is same. Only the VNet, it is going to say 2 and subnet 2, and again going to do 2 and subnet 3. Only thing I need to do is 2 and 2 here. Okay, and what else I need to go? I can come down. See what here is the funny part. I really don't need to create a new, because this is in the same region. I'm deploying in the same region, right? Even the security group is in a different resource. What I can say, like, I can use the same security group. I don't, since it is the same region, right? I can use the same. So I don't create the network security group. I don't need to. I don't want to create the availability set, by the way. And I'm going to copy this, by the way. I'll go here. I'm going to say like test VM 4, by the way, and VNet I'm going to give it, VNet is 2, because that is where it is in. And what about the subnet? I'm going to give, yeah, B8 subnet only, but this goes inside. Okay, so subnet 1, test user, everything. Only thing is NSG is also fine. I don't want to use this security net. This is what I want to deploy, guys. Okay, only thing, resource group is same. It is the only VNet is getting deferred, guys. Azure B8 VNET 2 in that one. So first let's check it out. It is if we are allowed to create the same V subnets or not. I'm going to copy here. Go to the shell. Say control shift insert. So let's see. So it's done. Done. And the third subnet. And I'm going to basically deploy this machine as well. Now let it come, let the machine come. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the virtual networks, guys. If I go to virtual networks, okay, if I go to virtual networks, you can see VNet 1 and VNet 2, both are in East US, by the way, both are in East US. But obviously VNet 1, if you see, it is basically is part of 10.1.0016, as well as you have one more. We're going to talk more detail in the next coming classes, guys. But one thing I want to do is let this mission create. What I want to show you is this is going to get 10.2.1.4. See, right now if you go to virtual machines, okay, so you are getting 10.1.1.4 to 1.2.4, 1.3.4, guys. The new one is going to a different VNet. It is going to get 10.2.1.4, which is a VNet 2, right? So instead of this one is 10.1.1.4, right? The new server is going to get 10.2.1.4. Why? Because it is a different VNet completely. See, you're getting fourth one. See, 2. It is getting created. Check it out. Now I'm going to log into the VNet test VM 1, and I also log into the test VM 4. then what I'm going to do is I'm going to test the communication between these two actually, whether it is working or not. Okay, anyway, first let me log in. See, this is a Linux server, guys. Earlier I showed you Windows server, how you log in using RDP, but Linux server you require something called as a putty, and username is the one which I think I have given Shri, right? I think so, Shri. And no, test user, sorry, test user, guys, sorry. In the script I gave, if you see that script, right, where is the script? It's a test user India at 1234556. Okay, so test user, and I give the IP, open it. I'm going to give okay, good. So if you see right now, sudo su hyphen will make you from a normal user to administrator, which is root in Linux. Okay, see, as you can see, this is Azure B8 test VM1. Okay, now let's go back and check it out, it is done or not. So it's running, guys, this is done. Now let's log into the fourth one, which is basically which is in a different subnet, as you can see from here. Actually, here you have some columns as well. I'm not sure if the VNets is there in here. Virtual network, yeah, you can also have virtual network as well. So I can add virtual network into the columns, and so you can actually take this further before the private IP. For example, I want to show here, and if I apply it, by the way, see, virtual network VNet 1, this is VNet 2, guys. Okay, copy it again. I'll do one thing, I'll say test user at the rate I'm going to give, so that I'll get a different color. Actually, that is why I did that. So green is basically in VNet 1. Oh, it's test user, sorry guys. It's test user. Okay, what I was saying is, I'll say test user at the rate okay. So I have a test user 4, as well as I basically have the green one, which is test VM1. Okay, now if I type if config in Linux, it is having an IP 10.1.1.4. If I type if config here, it will be 10.1.4. If I ping 10.1.1.4, obviously 1.4, obviously it won't ping, guys. If you notice, it won't ping. Similarly, if I ping from ping 10.2.1.4, it won't ping. Okay, now the same thing is happening here, right? So for example, if I say, so VNet 1 and VNet 2 both, I need to establish a blue line, this blue line, so that VM1. So right now, what is the IP address of the VM? As you see, this VM is having 10.1.1.4. This is the, and this is happening, this is basically 10.1.2.4. okay, now I want this communication. Basically I want this. See, I will tell you where we in real time we use the VNet peerings in later. Okay, but right now we're going to put concentration on how this technically works actually. So right now, as you can see, these are not working. If you take AWS, right, you need to do a lot of routing and everything, right? But here you really don't need to do that, by the way. So what we go is, I'll go to the virtual networks, I'll go to the VNet 1, come down, you have something basically called as peerings, guys. You have something called as peerings. I'm going to add the peering. Let me tell you, you can actually create a peering with a different subscription, even different region also. Right now I'm showing in both are in East US. Next class we actually put something in West US and do the peering, so don't worry. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to simply say VNet 1 to VNet 2 and select the virtual network you want to peer. Right now you are already in VNet 1. You need to select the VNet 2, which is VNet 2. Come down, it will ask what, see, it is going to create from other side as well. So here you can give what is the name should be from the other side, VNet 2 to VNet 1. So then I'll say I give this one. Don't worry about it, just enable it. I'll tell you what is this gateway transit when we discuss about the next week. So don't worry, select all these things. And what you can do is basically here, you can actually click on OK, guys. Click on OK. And let it come, and I'm going to just watch it. It should start pinging in few seconds actually. Once it is established, right, they will start pinging to with each other. But I think it won't. Yeah, right, because I allowed everything, right, allowed all. So if you see, check it out guys, this is how VNet peering will allow you to create connectivity between two different VNets. So what I'm trying to say is, by default, machines in two different VNets cannot communicate with each other. So you need to establish the VNet peering to make things work actually. This is basically at high level how you configure the VNet peering. Now in the next class, in the next Saturday class, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how exactly we're going to connect to a different regions, different subscription as well. We're going to check it out, we're going to test it. I also going to explain in real-time environments where we're going to discuss it, and I'm going to explain about the security groups, firewalls, virtual network gateways, a lot of things guys. Okay, next week will be very, very interesting. Any questions guys? Any questions here? Anything you didn't understand, by the way?
So Asha, I was not going to ask, how different is the scripts from the Bash and the PowerShell? Is it pretty similar or completely different?
So the syntax always differs. Why? Because PowerShell, I think it founds, I think, a noun and verb architecture like a get, new, all these things. Whereas this is more towards a Linux architecture. Bash shell is more like a, if you want to use the AZ CLI, it's preferred to use like. Are you familiar with Linux, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, you know the grep commands or like
Yes.
sort awk, you use the bash shell.
Okay.
Okay, but if you are a Windows guy good with PowerShell or want to do that like advanced scripting, right, so you can actually do the PowerShell.
Okay. Thank you.
It's more like a Windows guys deal with PowerShell and Linux guys use the bash shell. I use both because I felt very comfortable with bash shell when compared to CloudShell to deploy my basic infra. That's why I'm showing it.
Okay, thank you.
Questions guys?
Now, Harsha, VNet peering, so you have done it like, from VNet 1 to VNet 2 and VNet 2 to VNet 1 in the same shot, or?
Yeah, it's the same shot. If you see it, it is automatically established because if you remember when I'm
Okay.
creating, right, it is connected, right? We are in VNet 1, right? So it is VNet 1, VNet 2. What I do, I can go back to here, VNet 2, and go to the peerings, right? You will see basically VNet 2 to VNet 1 is already created.
Okay.
Earlier, right,
Fair enough.
when VNet was being introduced, right, it is not the same case. First, I need to go to the VNet 1, do the peering. Again, I need to go to VNet 2, do the peering. But after that, they changed it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, question time guys. Questions, either it will be technical or this is your question time. If you have any doubts or career related, you can go ahead, but only for this week we're going to stop by 7 o'clock, right? But coming weeks it will be most probably 7 or 7:30, depends upon if I need to spend another half an hour, not more than 7:30. 3.5 hours is the max we can go. That means I put a limit like 6 to 7 hours per weekend, that's it. So overall it will be 10 weekends. Yeah. Questions guys? And by the way, I need to tell you the fees components, right? Okay, any questions? Meanwhile, I'll open the uh, fees structure, everything. Anyway, you guys know it, but if somebody is new here, so let me open fees. Okay. Okay, so this is the fee structure. I'm going to save as. See, if you're outside India, you can actually ping me on this one, guys. This is my personal. You have different phone number, but this is my personal number. So you can actually pay me. I give you the account details basically. Apart from that, you are in India, right? You can use GPay and PhonePe. You can actually send this to this number, or if you want to do a Paytm using credit card or something, you can use a Paytm and WhatsApp this one, and you can do either 12,000 or if you want, you can do actually do the 6,000 and send, and make sure you send me a screenshot and your Gmail ID. Questions, guys?
So how should we learn this shell scripting? Either it could be Linux or PowerShell, whatever it is. Do you have any recommendations?
What is it? Come again.
How should we learn the scripting? Either it is in Linux or Windows. Like, do you have any recommendations? Because basically we are new to this Microsoft Azure or like to the IT platform. So do you have any recommendations on it?
So right now don't concentrate on scripting, but we are going to use both shell scripting and PowerShell. See what will happen. The next level, you need to be a DevOps engineer. When you are in a DevOps engineer, you should be able to do in both actually, but most probably in the worldwide applications, it will be shell scripting is widely used. Shell scripting is widely used, but what I always believe is you should have multi-domain knowledge. If you ask me, I do scripting in both in shell scripting or PowerShell. But if you want to where to start, you start with shell scripting. It's very easy. You can learn things, and then if you directly go to the PowerShell, you will feel a little tough actually. So you basically start with a shell scripting, and because we already have like creating of scripts and everything, right? I'm showing you, right? You can use that one, and later point of time I also going to give the introduction to shell PowerShell as well in this class. During when we are discussing about the automation, we're going to use PowerShell during that time. Then I'm going to give you an overview about how PowerShell works basically. So you start with shell scripting and then go for PowerShell. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, guys?
So where we can change the theme here?
Theme, I think it is here actually. So you can go here. If you see right now, I think it is selected something like this actually. So you can basically go to white. It will go something like this. Yeah, you can change here. Here under you this wheel is there, right? Under the wheel you have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the resource groups, guys, and I'm going to completely delete this resource group. We have like all VNets, everything will be done. It will be deleted. I don't need to worry about anything. So it will take some time. Just normally after the lab, I'm just going to delete and go for a break, and then everything will be deleted basically. Okay. Questions, guys?
Yeah, hi Harsha. If I pay fee tomorrow or day after tomorrow, can I get to these 2 days videos?
Yes. So if you pay, it will take a couple of hours to give you the access. So you will get it, yes, on the same day itself.
Okay, thank you.
So I know two guys are already sent. I'm going to send an email after this class. So you need to create some accounts. You have details on this one. Paul, I'm going to give you after this class. Yeah. Any questions, guys?
Fine. Yes, Harsha.
Yes.
See, I'm unable to proceed the free trial version because I don't have the credit card or so on. So without that also, I don't have any option to proceed further. Is it?
I understand, but that is something I can't help you out, right? So.
Okay. Do you have any other way to do it in that way? I'm asking. No, right?
So you need to talk to your friends who has an account. Okay, by the way, who has an account like who has Azure account, ask them to create a subscription for you. Okay, and or create an account and then give you the access so that they will pay the fee for you actually.
Basically, if I have, so how much it will be? Like it will not go beyond $200, right?
No, that's a free trial basically. That's a free trial which was been given to you.
And after that, when you use it, whenever we are using it, that amount will be deducted, correct?
Yes, that's it. You don't get any charge actually. So see, I'm pretty much sure you have at least one friend who has a credit card. Okay, I'm pretty much sure. So try to talk to him. If possible, try to give him upfront, give some 1,000 rupees for him, and you use his card, and then you can do that, because you don't get more than 1,000 rupees bill if you follow my steps. Okay.
Fine, fine, fine. I agree. Fine. So because of that, fine. After that, I will for you also. Okay. 12K.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. Questions, guys?
Thank you.
Yeah, well, you said, Harsha, that there is a fixed path like learning AWS, Azure, and DevOps would get a good opportunity. So I already started AWS. So like, what is your recommendation? I heard that you are also about to start a DevOps class coming in few days. So is it good to take a class in Azure or DevOps? What do you suggest? What's your opinion on it?
Now, you already know AWS by any chance?
No, I just joined very recently, maybe just 4 or 5 days back. The batch which started very recently on 22nd or 23rd, I guess.
In
So
my
what is
batch,
your
by
Yes, your batch on, I guess,
fine.
21st, I guess.
Don't go for DevOps, because what will happen is, so you already started AWS, by the way. Okay.
Yeah,
So first of
yeah.
all, you want to do simultaneously.
Yeah, I just want to buy some time to do both the things in parallel
Do
as it
one
is
thing.
available.
Do one thing. What the best way is, what will happen is, if you try to do AWS and DevOps, or Azure and DevOps, you feel little difficulty. Why? Because there is a lot of contrast. If you do one by one, I prefer you do the AWS or DevOps for AWS or Azure first, and then DevOps and everything. If you're trying to do simultaneously, what will happen is, and assuming that you're going to do DevOps as well later. Okay, I'm telling this one.
Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
so you take AWS and Azure. The advantage you are going to do that understand is, you understand the differences between both clouds actually. So because you're already going in AWS and you are going into the Azure, okay, so you can concentrate on both, and I'm assuming that you have enough time to practice. Okay, practice.
Yeah.
So then you can start, and next you can also go to this go to DevOps as well. That is also fine. So end of the day, you should be, if you go one by one, then I'll say, okay, go for AWS and then DevOps and Azure, or Azure, DevOps and AWS. But you are going to, right? Yes, you can actually learn this cloud, so you'll get a good idea on fair amount of what is this something called as an AWS, because you're already attending the class. I keep on repeating here what do we call it in AWS basically. So now you have a knowledge on both clouds, and then next you go for DevOps, you understand very well. That's also a good path actually.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not saying taking a DevOps is a bad path. Okay, so both are good. Since you are already in here, you can continue with this, because you already understand what I'm teaching in AWS and now now Azure, right? So you can continue with this one. So don't do the DevOps. You just drop the DevOps right now. Just concentrate on AWS and Azure, and next put all your concentration on DevOps, because DevOps requires more concentration when compared to Azure actually. That's why.
Okay. Yeah, and by the way, like, when is this DevOps batch about to start? Because I haven't seen in the YouTube channel
Tomorrow I'm going to
something
post
about.
actually. That's English batch, right? Weekend batch. Tomorrow I'm going to post.
Okay, yeah, fine. Thank you.
Questions, guys? Questions? Okay, if you don't have
Is
any
it possible
questions,
to?
yes, please.
Here. Is it possible to do like both DevOps and Azure over the weekend batch, and then
So
now
see,
both, or like how it
possibility,
will
yes,
be
fine. If you think logically, it is
okay.
possible. Why not? But doing a course is not about spending 3 hours in my class, right? So totally at weekend it will be 6 to 7 hours, right? So that means, what about the practice? That means totally it will come to 12 to 14 hours, or 12, anywhere between 12 to 14 hours of class per weekend, right? That means you need to practice that in 5 days. So that means at more like it will come to like a 5 3s, or somewhere like, or somewhere like 2.5 hours maybe. Okay, so that means every day you need to put 2.5 hours for practicing these two. Okay, if you can do that, yes, you can attend it. And if you have some sort of a job threat and so you are in a bench or something, there might be a chance you get fired or something. Yes, I okay. But if you have time, then I say, oh, you just concept, because if you don't practice, what is the point? I'll get my fee, but what are you going to get? Yeah, that's why. If you can practice, yes, you can do simultaneously. That's why I said to the other person, my friend who is in AWS, I said, don't do that, because practicing 2 courses, it will be a very big headache. So if you do, that's why. So if you are able to practice, yes, I encourage it. If you can't practice it, again, you're going to come back and say join it again. Second time you're going to join it. Okay, I can allow that, but it's a waste of time, right? That's why. Questions, guys? Go ahead. Any career related, anything I can answer, because we're not going to repeat this question and answers like career related or generic questions later. Everything it will be technical later. Then I should have explained about next VPC peering. I thought that you might have so much of questions. I gave like half an hour or something. So if you know that there won't be any questions, I could have taken until 7:15 and teach extra.
Yeah, hi Harsha. Just
Yes.
want to ask about a project, how it will be project light kind of thing we can do.
At the last, we're going to do about Azure DevOps, right? We're going to do multiple things inside that one, deploying Docker containers as well as deploying from the Azure DevOps in AWS using Terraform. We're going to do that basically. So you can use that as a project.
Okay, is that project we can keep in our resume while we are attending interview point of view, what you will do in project if they ask, we
See, with
can answer about
only
the project what we are doing.
with only AWS, no one is going to care about the project, because that is just a hype. People are trying to say project basically. If you know only AWS, it will be like you are going to do AWS management. What project will be there? It's infrastructure management. Which project you are going to do in infrastructure management? If you're a DevOps person, then you need to create a pipeline. You need to take care of the shell scripting, PowerShell scripting. After that, you need to go infrastructure. A lot of things can be done in DevOps. Then I understand. Okay, you create an end-to-end pipeline for one of the project. I can understand it. You can say in this one. With only AWS or only Azure, right? You can't say simply I worked on some big project, because you need to involve the automation. As long as you don't do a DevOps, you don't know automation. So if you are only thinking about keeping your project with Azure, right? I'm going to explain at the last. You can use that one. Questions, guys?
Yeah, sure. Will you show real-time scenarios for important tasks on Azure, like some SQL database like that?
Okay, I'll tell you like this. Everything I'm going to teach is real time, because I'm a technical architect, and right now I'm a solution architect in both cloud and DevOps, AWS and Azure. The point here is, see, when I teach that one, so I'm going to clearly say real time. Because if you see, I'm actually speaking like in real time, and keep on. So you need to grasp that one, you understand. So whatever I'm going to teach. So for example, the way next we're going to talk about like scripting as well as everything is real time. Okay. So I don't see any reason why I should not do something, teach you something which is not used in real time. So every point I'm going to teach, it should be useful for your interview in your job, because I'm teaching from my experience only. So you don't need to specifically ask, is it real time? Because whatever I'm learned, I am telling you.
Yeah,
Questions, guys? Questions? I think Hari, can you please ping me your Gmail ID, because you already sent the feed. I think one more Subbu, right?
Yeah.
Subramanian already sent. Subbu already sent, and I think Hari, you are also there, right? Can you just ping me your Gmail ID, please?
Sure, Harsha. Yeah, doing it.
Yeah. I'll send an email in a few minutes, so you need to do some steps there, and then I'll give you access by night. Yeah. Okay, let's stop it here, guys. So I'm going to send you a new meeting ID by next week, and you know how to contact me. You have my email address. Sorry, you have my WhatsApp number. Okay, and you can call once the fee is paid. Just send me the screenshot and Gmail ID. Let me tell you one important thing, guys. don't cheat yourself by saying that okay, let's pay on Friday evening and then next Friday and get. See, you are wasting 5 days in between and you are not doing any practice. Once you pay by Friday and I give you the access to the videos and you want to practice, so thinking that something will happen, you're going to save something in these 5 days. I see a lot of people like urgently they're going to pay, I'm going to join the class. So you don't need to take like 1 or 2 weeks to do that one. Okay, so you are literally wasting 5 days without practice. Just keep that in mind when you're doing things. Okay, just ping me, Hari, just ping me on WhatsApp, by the way. Sorry, not in chat. Yeah, anything else, guys, before I call it off? Why somebody else has shared? Sorry. Yeah, questions, guys, before I call it off? Okay, I really appreciate your attendance, guys. So I know that few guys won't be able to there in the next week, basically, but I think let's send an email for me, okay? And then I'm going to send the new meeting ID by Saturday afternoon, so that you can use that one. Anyway, will be keep in touch with in WhatsApp group, by the way. So whoever is the pay, and we'll look into that one. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thanks for attending, and all the best for the future. Let's meet up in the next week if possible. Yeah. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.